Okay, they can hear us.
right as Ori, quote, blew into the microphone.
Wait, what? I missed that because I turned you guys down.
You're
very poor microphone etiquette.
Said flitter, and I chuckled, and I almost blew chunks into the microphone. Welcome to Kess.
What are you drinking? This is
Welcome to
chunky,
the Secret
sir.
Adventure Society, mother.
No, this is Spilling the Ale.
This is the Secret Adventure Society presents Spilling the Ale.
Or today, Spitting the Ale.
Spitting the Ale. Exactly.
Yeah.
Today it's not ale. I have a fruity mixed beverage.
What is it?
What's it called? Goon, tell us what it's called.
It's called the Mind Flayer. Ooh.
Is it really?
And,
Wait, what's
and since we fight monsters, I'm drinking a monster, not sponsored.
Not a sponsor.
I'm drinking a nice $4 bottle of wine from Montana's finest vineyard.
Oh, la-dee-da.
I'm drinking coffee.
Okay.
Just
Oh,
in
God, I feel like
just in my normal stuff.
Just normal amount, yeah.
Yeah.
Your Stein.
The Stein.
Wait, you have coffee in a metal stein?
isn't that gonna be hot?
That's some renegade-y shit.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold coffee.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, get out of here.
still.
It's ice.
I mean, okay.
I like how you're just
health
get it
potions.
out of here. Just doesn't matter anymore.
Cold coffee away from my face.
Did you throw it into anything in it? Has it got Kahlua, Bailey's?
Actually, we have some Kahlua. We have some Kahlua in the fridge from one of the last D&D sessions that we had in person.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So this is basically vodka, ginger, and grape juice. So that's
That
what I'm
sounds
having.
good.
So there are
That
grapes.
sounds delicious. Is it like
Spicy
ground ginger and grape?
It is. I diced the ginger and then put it in the blender.
In the blender?
What is... this is completely not within my power to do this, but now that you've started talking about it, I have a question. What's Q's favorite drink? If you were gonna booze it up,
I'll allow it.
is that okay? Can I don't mean to step on any toes here, but
There's no fucking rules here, Stevo. Damn.
Yeah, there are no rules. This
Okay.
is a free for all.
Mrs. Kirk, I'll have to make you some of this because
I know Dwarf's favorite drink. It's
You know what?
anything.
It's
I don't
health
think-
potions.
It's health potions, yeah.
Didn't he get sick off of that though?
Yeah, he did.
No,
but...
he made a con save, but he was, I think he ended up being okay. That was so
yeah.
long ago.
Yeah.
I was like,
Being a dwarf, he has being a dwarf. Being a dwarf, he has advantage. on
I do
being
that
poisoned.
too.
yeah.
I keep calling dwarfs now, and Zach did it in a game. He
In
said,
like a game of
you look at the dwarf instead of the dwarf, and I was like,
If you say it fast enough, it sounds right.
It's pretty
with our accent.
It's close.
So
Like,
yeah,
that's just the South coming out of me.
Jen Eric Live has an excellent question. Q's favorite alcoholic beverage is the blood of someone who just drank alcohol. So, I don't think
Oh,
he drinks.
man.
I honestly, I think after the stick meat incident, I don't think he drinks, Stevo.
that might have been the last one.
I think that was his first, maybe, and last drink.
Mhm.
Like,
I mean, he
not
got-
just because he's young, because he is of age, but he I don't know if he's a drinker.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So what about Pearce? What's Pearce's favorite drink? Like, has he had access to his favorite? Is it just ale?
Like-
is it?
Everything of alcohol seems just completely extravagant. Like the cheapest ale is just beyond, you know what I mean? Him basically being homeless most of his life ish. Even the slightest luxury seems like a big deal. So his palate's probably not at all developed, and
He's a chicken nuggets kind of guy.
yeah.
He's like a PBR on the beach kind of guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. What about
So,
Yeah. What
Yeah.
about Kess? I imagine Kess's favorite drink is something think of the most expensive drink that you can get at a bar.
and then you
What would that be?
add another
She-
shot to that.
she
Yeah.
loves
And a drizzle of caramel.
like a margie with a sidecar?
she likes white chocolate, not caramel.
Okay.
Just so you know. Let me turn down. I'm sorry if the music's a little loud. I forgot to turn it down a little bit. She probably likes any well, you mentioned in, I think it was a couple episodes ago, Zach, the Mardostan
Yes.
pale ale, I think it was.
Yes, I believe so.
I'm sure that's probably one of her favorites, or a really fancy glass of wine.
Like
Okay.
a white wine, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a dry white?
Yeah.
I like a dry white with 2 ice cubes. Just like,
No.
I mean, it's a thing. People do ice cubes in white wine.
Right, but
Yeah, you
she
drink.
doesn't.
She does not. Okay.
No,
Don't-
because all of her wine has already just been always cold. She's never needed it.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I could see her drinking a Moscow Mule. No. A White Russian.
Yeah. Probably.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
100%.
I can see
Actually,
it.
maybe both of those, based on my interpretation of Kess,
Yeah.
as she's been put forth to me. The dim, the dumb.
Those are all some of my favorite beverages. So Kess and I would be drinking buddies.
Kess and Goon, not Kess and Q.
Yeah, no, not Kess and Q. Kess would drink while Q, like, I don't know, DD'd or something, except you probably don't want him behind the wheel. But like,
True.
Can
Like,
you
you-
imagine? He would be sitting on a stack of phone books. Like,
He wouldn't even be able to touch the pedals, though.
But you would also still not end up at home. You'd end up like in a different county somewhere, but not because he was drunk, because he's Q.
he just
Yeah.
doesn't know.
Yeah.
like, I wanted to go play pool. Let's go play pool.
We're home.
Oh, gosh.
Well, when the world is your home, you know, what
That's fair.
really is, where do you go at night? You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
Right.
Right.
Closing time.
We were just talking about that song.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
almost
man.
like Goon was there to talk about that song.
I
with
was.
us.
It was almost as if he's purposely recalling a joke that no one in chat was there for.
Yeah. Because we were just already cracking jokes from the time we like got in chat.
So, because we have not actually officially like opened up, welcome to Spilling the Ale. I do believe I was able to say that much. But if you have any questions for our intrepid adventurers, please actually Jen and / or Eric and / or any other mod in
Got
chat.
it.
Can we get that link? Yeah. Hit !SAS questions. Use that that link to pose any questions on Slido to any of these 3 people.
People.
We're all of us.
And Zach. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Zach.
or me. I will answer questions that I can as well.
You're not above question taking, sir.
There are some here. I believe there are some that I've seen that I cannot answer. In no universe can I answer them yet.
Is there some
That's-
that are posed to you that you can't answer, but we could speculate on?
Oh, that would be
Like us
fun.
as the
Maybe
players?
we'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
I like speculation.
Could
It's
you
one
be
of my
like-
favorite hobbies.
Yes. Same.
It is.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
You could be like, this question's to the DM. I'm gonna read it, but I can't answer it. We could be like, oh, that is a good question. We'll have to figure that out in game. I guess that would
Right.
be almost a metagaming, but
Not really. I mean,
no, not really.
yeah.
They
If
want to
it
know
would
what
still
you're
come to your
drinking.
character. I am drinking, like I said a moment ago. I don't know where it's from. I'm drinking the finest $4 bottle of Cabernet Sauvignon from, I imagine, a vineyard in Montana. So it's a $4 bottle of wine, which makes this about 75 cents worth.
I thought you said
That's
butthole
why.
of wine.
You know what they call a vineyard in Montana?
What?
A backyard.
Yeah,
That's funny, Steve.
That
I just hit
checks
my
out.
tooth. I don't know if you guys heard it.
I did.
I did. It was a little tooth ASMR. SASMR. Can we get some SASMR?
Some
Sass-
SASMR.
Sassamore?
Oh my God, Brenner, are you listening? Can you make that happen?
You have to record us doing
Yeah.
like you just screaming in the
Oh my
background.
gosh.
Eric, you are absolutely right. Speculation is every Star Wars fan's favorite pastime.
I've done that a lot.
Yep. So, y'all want to answer some questions, some questions?
Yes,
I'm itching to.
I'm nervous.
Questions.
I'm before we get started, like I'm so excited for this, and then when we finish tonight's episode, I'm gonna be like, God, we don't have anything next week. We're dark next week. Like we've got to wait until after Thanksgiving. Yeah.
Forgot.
Which is the
Yeah.
perfect time for you guys to catch up on everything YouTube and podcast.
By the
Yeah!
way, speaking of YouTube, we hit 100 subscribers.
We surpassed it. We're like to 115 now, right?
We're past it now, yeah. So if you guys are not subscribed to our YouTube, you're behind. And you should do
Yeehaw.
it.
Get ahead of the curve.
Do it.
AOTC.
She's on it.
Get it.
Sassamar.
Okay. This question is for each player. We asked this last week for Augustus and Jindy. But for each player, what is your favorite spell/ability for your character? And why? Start with Kess.
Pass without a trace.
course.
because it's funny because
It's the best spell in D&D.
it's the best spell in D&D by far, but I forgot to use it last week. Fun fact, Kess is not she's not stealthy. She just
She wants to cast that.
She is, because of how she grew up and because of her family, she has little tricks that she can do to be as stealthy as they were. So she considers herself stealthy because she has practiced the art of stealth a lot. But as far as her abilities scores and stuff, she's not that stealthy. So
That's
Which
fair.
is why Pass Without a Trace comes in handy.
yes, and I forgot to cast it last week. If you watch, I almost do it, and then Stevo rolled a natural 20 and he had already rolled, and I was like, well, that's a good sign. And then me and Jen didn't roll well. So I was like, he was like natural 20, and I was like, well, I can't cast it now, but that's a good sign. And then I rolled like a 9, and I think Jen rolled like a 12. We were just like,
Yeah, when all of that was going on, I was like, is nobody gonna pass without a trace?
I was going to, and like I need to put a sticky note up anytime. Like
Just tattoo it to your
she
thumb.
is gonna cast it anytime. It is her absolute go-to spell.
Did you see? Was it Jenny D has the boyfriend hat? What's that called? The little daddy hat.
Yeah.
Dad hat.
I think it's just called a dad hat. A
Dad
daddy
hat.
hat is much. It's just got a dick on it.
I like daddy hat.
Different, yeah.
Daddy hat. Anyway, it says Pass Without Trace on it. It looks like it's like a ranger hat, and you need it. So it says Pass Without Trace.
I would
My
love
favorite
that.
thing about that ability is it sounds like a Lifetime original movie.
It does, doesn't it?
Oh no!
I wonder-
to Jessica?
Oh
She
my
passed
God.
Without a Trace.
we have to do this sometime, like just a whole stream, like an hour-long stream where we all just sit around and read spells from PHP and name what their Lifetime original movie was.
Oh my gosh.
Good, yeah. I
Wow.
love it.
That would be so much fun. Stevo, you've given me a gift. Thank you.
Anytime.
So
What about Stevo?
Yeah.
He's a bit. He doesn't have spells, right?
Well, Pierce doesn't have spells.
ability is what the question says.
He really loves his boots a lot because he permanently walks silently in them. And his violent shot, I think, I just, it's so beefy, and there's not a lot of depth to Pearce from a not from a character like personality perspective, but from like a character build perspective. He's a little bit of a one-trick mechanical pony. So I try to be creative with the way that I do that, like a weird bank shot or shooting there's an episode where we fought the vampires where I shot the holy water out of the air. So I just like try to come up with
Killer.
ways to shoot shit that's cool. But yeah, probably the violent shot, which uses a grip point, and I can fire I think like 4 times total or something with these hand cannons.
Yeah, hand cannons. And that holy water thing would have been clutch if it had worked out the way that you wanted it to.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good idea.
that's the story of D&D. Exactly. It's like an awesome thing that doesn't quite play out, but it's cool in concept. Let's see. Okay, this one's gonna take a minute. We did this one last week. This is from Narwhal.
We
What-
We got Q.
Oh yeah, Q did not answer his. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So Q and Goon actually have 2 different answers, but I'm gonna try to make it quick because
Okay.
I'm excited about narwhal questions. Goon's favorite is a cursed specter because you can raise the ghost of your dead enemies. It is a little bit limited in the fact that you have to land the killing blow. I can't just, if Kess knocks something out, I can't just, pick them up. But Q has landed a few killing blows so far, including nice ghost, coast to coast. I enjoy Accursed Spectre. Q's favorite is probably his packed weapon. He loves that bow and arrow more than life itself. It has fed him for years or months or hours, however long kobolds live. Not a very long time, but it has, since he's been on his own, that packed weapon has come in handy. So the ability to fire infinite arrows and not have to go buy arrows is his favorite part.
And that was a thing that you and I came up with, right? The like packed weapon having unlimited arrows, basically.
Yeah. We came up with it based on it being very unclear as how bows work as packed weapons. So we kind of, that's how we solved that. Is it's like an infinite arrow, because theoretically you can use the packed weapon infinite times, so why not infinite arrow?
Mm-hmm.
But
that only made sense to me.
Shapedness was cool.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like, can you describe for anyone who might not remember what it is that Q's bow looks like?
Yeah, Q's bow. It's I think it has a name. I think it's
Blight bow.
Blight bow.
Thank you, Blight bow. It's literally looks like a spinal cord. If you guys want, if there's any art people in there, because it looks like you ripped out a spinal cord and shaped it into a longbow, and then there's like a tendon that use like, but less bloody. It's clean, like I guess less like Mortal Kombat spine rip out, more like you stole a spine from a museum. So, but yeah, that's the Blight bow. It has a few extra tricks up its sleeve that we haven't gotten to yet. So,
I'm excited. I'm excited for that day to come. So now the question from Narwhal, and this is going to take a moment, and I'm going to have to write it down to make sure that we don't forget anyone.
Hang on. Do we want to save this one for in a little bit?
Sure.
I kind of like how you said that, because I don't know what it is.
Now it's like we're getting a present at the end.
I can tell what it is.
We can save it. It was just next. Well, she was here, she was doing all the questions last. So yeah, we can save that.
It's not next though. There's another.
What's
question
not next?
Before it.
Stop looking at the Slido link and let me do my job. I have a reason. Let me do my shit.
Okay. Sorry.
So, from Elder Kane, and actually, this one I would like to kind of pose as a joint question. Elder Kane asks, what are your characters' happy places and what brings them joy? So I would like to combine that question with another question from Anonymous that said, and it went away. So why did you choose to make the characters the way that you did? What went into their designs and their personalities? So I'd like to kind of combine those two things. Goon, your eyes lighting up. Yeah. So
recap. Happy place, who they are.
Yeah. So who they are and they're happy. I should have phrased that differently. I should have asked the second one first. But why did you design them the way that they are? And what use that to veer into what is their happy place?
My goodness. Okay.
So let's start with Kess.
Why me first again?
Because you're on my screen.
Oh, I don't like that. I need a minute.
My goodness.
I can go, Kess, or Stevo can go, because he looks like he's not worried about this question. He looks like he's ready to go.
No.
I'm worried about all the questions. So
both Goon and I, when this question was asked, was I feel like we had sort of archetypes that excited us, or some very clear inspiration, right?
Okay,
so,
you guys go first.
Okay. This being the first long-term campaign that I was going to be playing in TTRPG, I wanted to do someone sort of different from the one shot that we did with the COVID relief show, who was very much me, like in an exaggerated, caricaturized kind of way, like kind of silly and funny and could wisecrack and stuff. And Pearce still does that, but I wanted to do something that was sort of antithetical to me, to like challenge myself to be someone different. And so I had been watching The Witcher. We originally created Pearce as a blood hunter, yeah. But before we even got into combat, we changed him to gunslinger because like growing up, I loved John Woo movies. I loved the like pistols akimbo, like infinite ammo in movies, like Face Off and stuff. You know, we're just like they're firing all over the place, and I love that stuff. And like Devil May Cry that was one of my favorite games. So I went with that and just sort of thinking about him being kind of a jerk kind of sounded like fun. And so, I mean, that was essentially the creation of Pearce. And then his backstory as more comes out later and as we get to know him, like I even still am sort of forming him, like just to be perfectly honest, like he's still a work in progress, but also Pearce himself in game is a work in progress as well. So it works. It fits. Obviously the voice I do is like very much a rip off of Henry Cavill's Witcher, and I try to tweak it a little more as we go along, but
you nail it so well. But we thought that you said fuck all the time, and you don't.
Yeah, I don't think I've said it at all.
So well, we thought you were Henry Cavill.
You have, but not in the same way. Like not
like fuck.
Yeah, like you like
yeah. So his happy place, he doesn't really have one. There's no place that he feels comfortable. He's agitated all the time, and it's not just because he's an asshole. It's because he, you know, I mean, that's the way he's been nomadic. He just like he sort of. There's a conversation that he had with Kess on the boat, it's like session 3, 4, somewhere around there, where she asked him, like leaving the Moonshae Elves for the first time, like, how do you feel? And his response was that, you know, sort of what you said earlier, Goon, which was like, when you live everywhere, everywhere's home. And it was a purposeful deflection while being an actual answer at the same time. He doesn't feel okay, ever. But he's grown accustomed to that, if that makes sense.
So, what do you think he realizes that he is uncomfortable all the time?
No, I don't think so. I think he thinks he's fine.
And what do you think would happen if that glass shattered for him one day?
I don't know. That's a good question. So like the times where Kess like actually tries to like get to know him are incredibly uncomfortable, like for him. And I don't think he realizes that that's what he's been missing, but he thinks he doesn't like it. So he doesn't want to create a wall big enough for people to push against, but he wants to keep them at arm's length. So yeah, if finding an actual home, finding an actual family, might break him in a good way. But he's a fragile guy.
Sure.
Maybe it's the Christmas lights behind you. But like I'm now comparing him to the Grinch, Jim Carrey. Like everything.
I'll shoot my shot. Yeah.
Pierce's heart grew 3 sizes that day.
Yeah. I love a Grinch impression. Wow, that came out of nowhere. I mean, I pitched it, but so yeah, you spiked it.
Yeah, he did spike it. So, okay, so now Goon.
Okay, well, so Q. We've talked about this probably off air a few times. When I was writing Q, we were, and obviously we all are, at a tumultuous time in our lives, and I kind of didn't think I would be able to commit the way I have, even. So I kind of made a screwball character that was only meant to be played for a few episodes until I inevitably had to quit the show. And then, you know, one thing as one does in so many young stories led to another, and here we are. So Cubone, I grew up and back when we streamed on Mixer, you were a big Pokemon fan, right? His name is Cubone. He's literally Cubone. He's a kobold that's like, I'm hoping the Pokemon company doesn't watch our streams. 100%. Originally, he's a whiny crybaby who lost his mom. And I thought that was funny. And so I was like, that could go 2 or 3 sessions and no more. And here we are 11 sessions later. Now, what's interesting about that is I do that with every one of my characters, whether I know it or not. And I've noticed this since, is that they're just screwball characters that I feel like have no depth. And then I fall in love with them. Q is... My previous character is a lot of my insecurities, not on stream, in home. Q is my anxieties, like all rolled up into a little ball. He is maybe not as personal, but that is what he is. He's a ball of pure anxious energy, which I think we all feel from time to time. I think he turned into Buster Bluth, which you mentioned.
Yeah.
He's like a weird mix of Buster Bluth and Smeagol, not Gollum, but Smeagol.
but also, and like, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. There's a little dash of like Charlie Day.
Oh, okay. So I can see that, but that was not purposeful.
Okay.
Like, are you from Sunny?
Yeah.
I think that's where you're getting that is just he's frenetic, and that's my playing of anxiety.
Okay.
I don't think Charlie, whatever
Kelly.
his name is, Kelly.
Charlie Kelly, yeah.
I don't think his character has anxiety because I don't think he's self-aware enough to have it. And you know
To
what?
be
Maybe,
right.
maybe that is Q too. He's not really aware that he's so anxious.
He's got high, like in the feral sense, he's got like high stress hormones.
Yes.
If that makes sense.
And that leads me to what Stevo said, which is that he's still building Pearce, and I think that's very much true because I didn't build Q a lot. I think he builds every session. I think he's growing. He's very young. He's mature for a kobold. They don't live long. But if you think about a character that matures at like the age of 2 or 3, they're going to be adults, but they're still not going to have lived as long as...
Haven't experienced as much.
They don't have
in their
life
lifetime.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And that's kind of the way I play Q, is like super low life experience. Everything surprises him. And I think, I don't want to hop on Stevo's train, but I don't think he has a happy place either. I don't think he's ever been happy in one place. I think he's learning.
I mean, food seems to be like a Zen moment for him.
His Maslow's pyramid is barely 3 stones tall. Like it's barely.
It's just 3 stones stacked on top of each other. It's a column.
Yeah, it's a column. He doesn't have enough food. If he makes it from sunrise to sunset and doesn't starve that day, Q's happy. So that's my answer to that question.
Jedi brings up a very interesting point in chat. He says, Sergeant Sanders, what would you have done if Lieutenant Sanders Blanc had been the character that you kept for, like, how can you imagine that character being a long-term D&D character?
That character was me texting you at 3 a.m. saying, what if Kentucky Fried Chicken played D&D?
He's not kidding. I cannot stress that enough. That is exactly how it happened.
Screenshot.
So
what if KFC played D&D?
But like knowing Zach, he would be sitting there going, "What if KFC?"
Yeah.
Like giving it real thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we did it, and I don't know if I could do. He was definitely a one-off character. He's got. I don't know where he would go. He had one joke, which was, "We're gonna cover the bad guys with a ladle of gravy." That one actually was.
But that killed the BBE.
It worked. It worked. I don't think I could have held that accent. I don't even know if I can do that accent again.
I wish you'd try. Kess. Kess, what about you? What is like what went into your character design, and as far as like backstory, what is not necessarily backstory, but as far as like your character's design and personality, what brings her joy?
Okay. Yeah, so Kess is also not fully like she's I've put
How
a
old
lot
is
of
Kess?
work into her. She's 21.
Okay.
I put a lot of work into her, and a lot more than other characters that I've made, but it was just kind of, it's kind of like whenever you go off on your own and you've been like know nothing but your family and what your family does and just the comfort of that for so long, and then you just go off on your own. And so she's getting to just explore everything and figure out who she is. And as far as like her aesthetic, because she clearly has, a black and white aesthetic, like it's, like it's a thing. I've always been a little bit obsessed with the balance of things. So like yin and yang, black and white, like not that I see everything in black and white at all, but just that concept, like night and day, like good and evil, just like those two forces on each side, just kind of like
balance in nature.
Balancing, yeah. That's kind of where her aesthetic came from. And then also like whenever I knew I wanted to play a druid, just because it was either going to be a druid or a monk, and I love nature and I love animals, and just felt like a druid would be fun. And as far as a changeling, that played into the whole black and white thing for me. And most of the time, when she can be, she's in her changeling form, but people don't necessarily trust changelings. So if not, she's in her high elf form. But her changeling form is kind of where that aesthetic comes from as well. Am I answering this right?
Yeah. So what, like, to pivot now, what brings her joy? Like the character as you've written, the character you've just described, what soothes her?
Things. She's pretty materialistic.
Okay.
And then also it's interesting because things, and then just straight up like nature. Plants.
It's an interesting dichotomy.
Yeah. To be honest, it's the same for me. Like I love things, but I also love nature. So it's just kind of,
balance in all things.
Yeah. So as far as a happy place for her, she has a place at home that is her ultimate happy place, and it just is basically her surrounded just by all the nature that she could possibly want. I'm not gonna.
That's some deep backstory stuff.
I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to spill the ale on what it is exactly, but that's her happy place, and it's basically just her surrounded by things that are also nature. If that makes sense.
Does Kess have a sense of entitlement around her, like given that she is a bit materialistic and has a background that she has, like you mentioned with her family, where she's like, I'm entitled to this. I want it, so therefore I get it.
She, not necessarily entitlement, but like she doesn't expect for people to just hand her things, but she knows that if they don't, she can just take it from them. She's not afraid of like breaking in a store and stealing a bag of holding, for example, and also 5 rings and another bag.
No, I want it more than him, sir.
She has never had to deal with consequences. Ever. So she just, I guess it's entitlement. She doesn't look at others and be like, well, I'm entitled to that, so give me. She's just like, oh,
we lost Goon.
Oh, we lost Goon.
I bet, am I Stevo or am I Loch right now?
No, Stevo is Goon. I am Stevo, and you are Zach.
Oh, good. That's a miracle.
Yeah. So
1 out of 3 is pretty good.
Should I put up the BRB scene and see where he's at?
You can keep answering your question, or were you finished? If you're finished with your question, here he is. He's back.
Oh, there's 2 of me.
Oh my goodness. We started on time. We started on time, but we had to have at least one minor technical snafu.
Hey, I don't know what that was. It's our internet's fine. This computer is just
You might have went AFK in Discord.
no. My computer lost internet. I had to try to get it back, but it's just my
Okay.
computer, not any of the other devices in the house. So
Odd.
yeah, I know. I got a ghost in the machine.
You have a Jost.
Jost, did I miss anything good?
Loch was wrapping up her question, I believe, right? Did you have
Stevo
anything else
had
to
a
add?
question for her.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
I don't remember what it was now.
It was the
did?
sense of entitlement.
Yeah. No, I wouldn't say she doesn't. She wouldn't like, see Jindy with a bracelet and be like, "That is mine. I want it. Give it to me. I'm better than you." But also, then again, she wouldn't steal from anybody in the party, so probably not. Depends. She wouldn't.
I was about to say, make a deception check.
She would probably be like, Jindy, where did you get that? I'm gonna go steal it from wherever you got it. But
If she wanted something bad enough, would she steal it from the party? Like
If she had to have it.
it would depend on what it was and what it meant to her.
But there exists on the spectrum. There is
Right.
something enough that would make that happen.
Yeah, but that's probably not necessarily a materialistic thing. That would be something a lot deeper for
Yeah.
her to still because this party is kind of she's basically she hasn't had many friends ever, and so this dynamic is completely new to her. And she's trying really hard to be someone that she is proud of. So, as far whenever we stole all the stuff, she didn't keep any of those rings or the necklace or anything. It's weird. This is way off from the question, by the way.
Go nuts, man.
I feel like
Ain't no rules in spilling the ale.
she's not necessarily selfish for just herself. It's really weird. It's just more, she feels like things that are just like material items can be replaced.
Okay.
So I would, and that's why she has no issue stealing them.
Sure.
Right.
The
It's just
person can
it's just a thing.
It's just a
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But at the same time, things make her very happy.
Yeah.
So again, interesting balance with Kess.
Yeah. She is all about balancing.
Sure. Okay. Unless you guys have anything else to add, next question from Anonymous. What kind of
Isn't that
preparation?
the villain from Watchmen?
Yeah, exactly. He's the reason that Tim Blake Nelson has to have tinfoil in the inside. So what kind of preparation, and I answered this last week, so this is just you guys, what kind of preparation goes into getting ready for a session?
Oh, I can reenact it. Hold on. I'll just give you a quick reenactment.
Okay.
Right here. Okay, I'm gonna do it. Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. Because of Wednesday nights, I get off work at 6:30. We get ready for show at 7:15, 7:20, 7:25 sometimes when I'm coming in. Some 7:35.
Yeah.
And then I eat beforehand. I get off, I eat, I say hi to my wife, and then I go, dice,
Those are things that I need.
Yeah.
about you,
That's
Goon?
me.
I usually try to get a drink in my hand, and then it looks exactly like Stevo's. I mean, to be fair, I don't prepare for much in my life. I am what the Myers-Briggs personality test would call a perceiver, which means throw me into a situation and I'm your guy. You give me too much time to prepare, and I'm gonna shit the bed. That's how I am. It's why I'm weirdly employable and weirdly unemployable at the same time. But once you get me, I got your employee of the month right here. So please don't. No.
What?
Son of a bitch. Okay.
What?
Sorry. I keep losing things.
You didn't. You've been up for us this whole time.
Oh God. Okay, you guys saw me react. Great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm shutting. I don't think I can respond to chat. I think this computer is just not going to handle it. Okay.
Okay. It was like, I don't know if you guys saw. It was on MSNBC, but there was this guy who was like about to be on the news on MSNBC, and he thought he lost the feed, so he just sat there like he was like,
He goes,
"Fuck, shit," like live broadcast on MSNBC. It was great.
The guy's reaction was perfect. Like, I think we lost.
Hey, gotta.
That's too good.
He appears to have a fucking problem. So, Goon, did before you melted down?
Yes.
Were you finished with your answer?
I would say that I text Loch usually once or twice before a session, not right before, but like during the week of. Be like, is there anything important we know as characters we have to do this week? And that's about it. Then I just get ready to go. So
That's fair. That's fair. Okay, so Kess and or Loch. What? Because I know there's Loch's answer is very Loch. You just answer.
Okay.
However you see fit, because there's a lot that goes on.
Yeah, I watched the previous session about 4 to 6 times throughout the weeks. Going back, watching specific parts, making sure I don't miss anything, and I take notes. That is what I'm doing at 5 a.m. normally, most of the time. And then as far as the day of,
I'm so sorry you have to hear my voice that much.
I
Like,
love it. I love it so much. It started off as just doing it because like I needed background noise and I am enjoying our story. And then it became me just obsessively combing through every episode to make sure I don't miss any even any look anybody makes. Like, I mean, like, I don't know. This is my favorite thing in the world, so
really cool though about like this is gonna, I think this may come off wrong, I hope it doesn't, like being in love with your own content, like that's like invaluable. Like when you're a creator, and I think the fact that you can like go through, like pour through all that stuff, like hearing that gives me life. I don't know about you guys, but like that, I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
The only thing I can't go back and watch, and I do go back and watch other older episodes too, but I can't go back and watch the first episode because Kess was supposed to have a British accent and I butchered it, and now I can't go back and listen to it. So that's
You got like a Princess Leia thing going on a little bit.
I just cannot. Yeah. I just eventually decided against it, and that I would just use my own, voice. But just because
I've heard you do a British accent though. Like I know you can do it. You just got it in your own head.
Yeah, exactly. And to be fair, like there's so much happening during the session. I'm watching chat. I'm watching everything. It's a full production that I just didn't need that extra stress, and I was afraid after that first episode that I just probably wouldn't even have fun if I was too worried about doing an accent, because I get in my own head with it. But other than that, before we all sit down and we like set up the scene, I have a Kess playlist that I listen to while I'm getting ready. And then whenever we sit down, I, fix everybody's cameras, and if everything breaks, I fix it. And then that's like,
it usually does.
That's
you say if, but the correct
always
phrase
breaks.
that is when.
Every single session.
Yeah.
last week it did not break.
Because you swapped, you did some sort of technical wizardry. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think I fixed the problem, but
Knock on some wood.
But that is what, yeah.
Pure skiff.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's
Now we
my
need to clip us all
preparation.
doing that.
And then
Right.
I had also been cosplaying, but I think I've decided that I'm only going to do that for very special, like I did it for Halloween. Like that's going to be like just special episodes or just every once in a while. I don't think I'm going to do it every time. First of all, because that wig hurts my head. So
That's a valid point.
yeah.
Most valid.
I feel like I don't have a playlist. Like I said, things are usually too rushy here. But if I did for Pearce, it would probably be alternating between "Welcome to the Black Parade" by My Chemical Romance and Death Clock's "Thunder Horse," and he would just listen to those two songs over and over again to get in like a Pearce like mentality.
That's fair. That is very, very fair. But I should point out that Goon is the resident like character playlist person.
Yeah.
He makes the best freaking character. He didn't make Kess's, but he made one for my Ranger Cleric Quinn.
He made one for my monk.
I listen to that playlist before every single session that we play our other campaign in, just because it's the best. Like, it just helps me get in the mindset so well. He's so good at it.
That's awesome.
Bard.
He's a bard. He's our bard in the other
IRL.
campaign, so makes sense.
But also he's a bard in real life.
Yeah.
I made a Q one. I know that's not been we've just brought it up. That's maybe a question, but Q has a playlist and
What's your favorite song from the Q playlist?
One that I didn't give the chance, like it's not from my childhood or anything, which most of the rest of them are, is Primus's John the Fisherman.
Oh, that's a good one.
You suggested it, I think, or I think I texted you.
I just suggested we were talking about Primus a lot because I was playing Tony Hawk. And there's a lot of Primus on that. But
you suggested Primus, I think, because I'd mentioned I was going to make a playlist for Q, and I found John the Fisherman, which I think is good for Q. He's also got like Flagpole Sitta by Harvey Danger.
Oh, that's also a good one.
It's anxiety ridden. It's frenetic.
Anxiety and like just madcap, like
dirty,
grungy sort of filthy riffs.
Dirty, filthy music, but also a little mainstream dirty,
mainstream filth. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It also has
what
Mama from Welcome to the Black Parade.
Yeah.
It has Mama on there.
Oh,
that's good.
What the hell? That's a good one. That's a very good one for Q. Okay, so Loch, real quick before we move on to the next question, what is your go-to Kess song? I know the answer that you and I talked about at one point in time. I don't know if it's the same one.
There's a couple, but whenever I made the playlist, the very first song that I thought about and I told Goon, I can't remember.
Wasn't it My Chemical Romance too?
No.
No, that was for
was for the other campaign.
Quinn.
Yeah.
Is it called Rockabye? We said its name
Mullins.
was we said it's Lullaby. Lullaby.
God,
yeah. Sean Mullins.
I can see that being a good Kess song. That's that's also like one of Locke's favorite songs.
Which is fair.
Well, Kess, weirdly enough, Kess's playlist is like a lot of the songs that I had been listening to in 2019 somehow have kind of made Kess. And I didn't mean for that to even happen, but whenever I started making her playlist, I started thinking of all those songs and I was like, oh my gosh. And that song's not
That's
in
rad.
there. That was just so
Edward
random.
McCain, is Edward McCain's "I'll Be" part of that playlist?
No. No. Honestly, Lullaby is probably the only song even like that. Lullaby. Yeah. I was trying to think of some more. But
I'm trying to figure out what would be on my DM playlist for this campaign, and I really don't know.
Oh, Sugar Ray's Fly is on there as well.
On mine? No, on yours.
On
Okay.
Kess's. I know that's
I
weird.
was like,
I know that's really weird. And then also Sunflower from Into the Spider-Verse.
Sunflower. Well, I mean, it's not. I know what you mean though. Just because it was
a good song.
If we were each going to add a song to Zach's playlist for him, what would we add for it? Because I think I would start with "Runaway Train" by Soul Asylum. I think I would start there.
Jedi says Weird Al, and that is appropriate.
Damn, that's right.
Like if we could add a song from our for our character in his playlist.
No, for Zach, for being his DM style. Like if we were gonna add a song to a Zach is the DM playlist, "Runaway Train" was the one I thought of.
I think it doesn't work for Zach. I just love it for DMs. But going I think Master of Puppets from Metallica.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
It's a really good DM
Yeah.
song. I think if I could find a polka cover, I would put it on.
If
Weird Al
would just do that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That's perfect.
That would be the perfect song on Zach's DM playlist.
Probably I Write Sins Not Tragedies would be on mine.
Okay.
I feel like my DM style is the way he's dressed in that music video.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Well, it checks out with the vampirism that it's in the current.
True.
The vampire in that video is just like that character from that video eventually becomes a vampire.
Yeah.
Has to.
That's just like deep Panic at the Disco lore.
Yeah.
Did anyone else have anything to add before we move on? Alrighty. For everyone, what has surprised you most regarding your character's development? How are they different from what you originally pictured? Pearce.
So Pearce is different. I think in the sense that I think he's more volatile than I originally intended him to be. Like the idea of, someone who's kind of a jerk would kind of do anything for money, like that witchery style, but had a heart of gold was sort of my original thought. But as we went, I was like, I really feel like what sort of surprised me was as we were going, and as I have conversations with people and get to know people, and as things occur in the campaign, I think he's more at like an inflection point in his life where he could sort of, depending on who's around him, become one thing or the other. And I think that is what surprised me just in this last week while I was thinking about it. I was like, I think he's more fragile. I mentioned that before than I originally thought. Like, not in like he could. I'm not necessarily in that like he could like break down, but in that the kind of person that he doesn't know the kind of person that he is, and that's sort of becoming by design, where he thinks of himself as a leader, but he's not. He's taking his cues from the people around him, and is fairly easily influenced by people around him.
I had not thought of that, but in the decisions that you've made for him and like the way that he acts in the show, that is 100%. Like he kind of puts himself out there as a leader, but really all he wants to do is follow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
He wants to appear strong in front of other people, but he is not.
Very interesting. Q.
I really liked Stevo's answer. I'm reflecting on that. I'm like, this could make, honestly, I did management teaching for a long time. Like I could use that, wanting to lead from behind. Anyway, as far as Q goes, I mean, other than answering the question again the same way I did before, in that the fact that he still exists as a character surprises me. I think he's more likable than I intend him currently. Like I was surprised that the party enjoyed him and have sort of many adopted him. He was always intended to be a bit of a little shit. He is a little shit. I didn't think that people would take a shine to him so well.
Just an aside, like we have a little chihuahua named Sushi, and he's like a little shit, but he's also like adorable as fuck. And I sometimes look at him and I see Q. Like,
I mean, if Q was a dog, Chihuahua is like up there. That is
Yeah. I mean, Q basically is a dog, but
he's party dog, party child. Again, Augusta specifically, I think has adopted him, and that's great. Legally now, I think he can do that. He's a wizard. I think that's the biggest thing that I've taken from it, is that he was not meant to be a likable character, which was going to be a stretch for me. Because I play, not because I'm likable, because I try to make characters that are likable.
yeah, charisma is your class. Like,
and so is Q. Q's high charisma. He's got a +5 in charisma.
Does he really? Damn.
Yeah, that's what his casting skill is. It's just he was going for more the intimidation and deception than like being a nice, pretty funny, cute little dude. But it rubbed off on people, I guess.
Funny how that works. So, to ask another question that we have in here, someone asked, and we talked about this a little bit last week, but I want to give you the chance to answer. Did you, and this is from Anonymous, did you always know that you were going to create Q to be like a child type character?
No. Yeah, I see how you saying that kind of rolls into what I'm saying. No, and I don't think of him as a child, even though we kind of joke about it. He's mature. He's mature for a kobold. He has childlike tendencies, like I was expecting or expressing earlier, that just come from a lack of experience in life and from being how humans would say sheltered, because it was just him and his mom for so long. I think that what comes off as childlike is my attempt at this otherworldliness that Q has. He's not tame. He's not from this, society. He's not society. Well, he's not civilized is the word I'm looking for. And I think that in me is a childlike thing, because I think civilization is what matures us into adults in a way. And I think that Q is basically the kid that plays the banjo from Deliverance. So, so not very mature at all. No, it wasn't purposeful, to answer your question short.
Kess, what about you? What has surprised you about your character's development thus far?
I feel like she's a little more dry than I intended on making her. And I think that's just because my other character is very dry, and I think it's a little difficult to separate sometimes. I wanted her to be a lot more energetic and outgoing. And then for some reason it just didn't feel right. Not that she's serious or like anything like that. I guess just like I didn't expect I don't know how to explain it. Just like she was
I guess outgoing from her, because she's one of the few that will go, like, for lack of a better word, like prod at people, like to go actively get to know people.
I think what I mean is I think she was supposed to be a lot more bubbly.
I was going to say bubbly earlier when you were...
Yeah, she's not really bubbly. She kind of just turned in, like, she's still outgoing. She's still very charismatic, but it's a different type than I thought she would have. And it just kind of happened that way. Party dynamics, and just it felt right. It didn't feel right for her to, I don't know, be super all over the place and bubbly. So
right. Party dynamic does a lot. Like we talked about that a little bit on the last episode of Spilling the Ale. Like party dynamic can completely shift your interpretation of your own character.
Yeah.
Now you made a flower child for the one shot, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like she was airy and kind of all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah. Kess wasn't necessarily supposed to be like that. Like she was supposed to just be a little more. And she's pulled some pranks, like, don't get me wrong, like, I'm very proud of the big prank that she did pull with...
On the ship?
On the ship with the smut book.
Right.
That still no one knows about, though, like, so it's not really a prank if no one knows about it.
We call that a lie.
Yeah.
Like a liar.
Like a liar.
She wasn't necessarily supposed to be like spacey or like very zen, like Zen was the other character that I made.
I forgot her name was Zen.
Her name was Zen, yeah. But she was just bubbly is the best way I know how to put it. She just ended up being a little more dry than I thought she was gonna be.
I've bought wine like that. I expected it to be bubbly.
I thought she was gonna have a little more carbonation in her.
Bottle of wine.
Yeah.
Kess does a thing that, like, to me, I associate with this Hugh Grant kind of thing, where she gets flustered in a really comedic way, and like the times when like Dorf is like, goes and puts his hand on her, and he's like completely like butt ass naked, and she's like, hi, like I get that sort of Hugh Granty stumbly kind of like that part cracks me up.
Yeah.
That's good shit. That's a very good
She's
comparison.
very
Steve.
rambling.
Yeah, Hugh Grant. No, you hit the
She whenever her emotions get the best of her, she rambles. Like it's just something that she can't really control it. You know, she was talking to the flower, and when she didn't get the answer she wanted, she sat there and literally just was like, well, okay, I guess, well, that's fine. I guess you are, you know, like she just, her brain goes in a thousand.
Such a good Ori impression. It's
Did you subconsciously base that on Goon?
No. I just think that kind of thing is very... it kind of makes characters feel a little more real to me than just having one line that they say and then they're done. So, she just kind of ended up like that too.
like I said, I think she and I'd be good drinking buddies.
Oh, yeah.
Not one sentence would get finished though.
It would just be like fragment, run on.
Yes.
No moments of silence at all.
Partial thought.
Oh, gosh.
No moment of silence until there is like elongated silence and no one knows which one needs to break it.
Wait, did I finish talking or did you finish talking? You're
What's
next.
social protocol? Oh God. Okay, we have a lot more questions to get to. So this
Lightning
next
round?
one, let's do. Well, I mean, some of these are not going to be able to be lightning round. This is just going to be a long episode. But we are this next one. Let's do it pretty quickly. This one is also from Anonymous. If you could play any other character in the party, this question actually says in the campaign, but I imagine it means party. If you could play any other character besides your own in the party, what would it be? Whose would it be? Pearce.
Maybe Dorf, because
Okay.
I just like he's so funny and real to me. Like, and I'll explain more because there's a question I think that you're gonna toss us later on that you did in the last one. So but like Dorf.
Okay. What about you, Goon?
I think I honestly I like Augustus a lot. Turtles are one of my favorite races, and Abjuration Wizard is my favorite subclass of Wizard. So just from that standpoint, I don't think I could bring the same life. Maybe it'd be just as good a character, but completely different. Hrothmar nails Augustus in this beautiful way. So I don't think I could be that good of an Augustus. But as far as from a mechanical standpoint, I would love to play his Turtle Wizard.
And Loch, you said you want to play Pearce?
Yeah, but gender swapped, of course.
Okay. So a gender swapped, like badass lady gunslinger, Pearce.
I would
Yeah.
like to see it.
That would be a rad character.
Yeah, except I think I would give female Pearce a little more of the pirate Jindy vibe as well. Like, I mean, Pearce
It's a little bit of a
totally,
hybrid.
Pearce totally feels like a pirate to me.
It's the hat.
It's the hat. But I like Jindy's pirate aesthetic, and then like Pearce's like personality and like gunslinger, like just.
So like peel back the curtain a little bit. So just going back to a previous question, if you guys want to know like where Pearce's like visual aesthetic came from, I typed in Blood Hunter into Google, and Bloodborne came back.
Okay.
And so the Bloodborne cover character is that long coat, tri-corner hat, side sort of thing, mixed with Pearce, who's named after Aiden Pearce from Watch Dogs, which was like that noir kind of gruff kind of guy. So that's where those
Mixed with Geralt from The Witcher. So
yeah.
you got going on here.
And then
there's a lot
spun in a bottle and made the exact opposite of Stevo.
Right. Yeah, I took everybody else's ideas but my own.
No, that's not. I was just saying like the opposite. I wasn't saying like it's not an original character. That's not. No,
I get you.
Get that shit. No, don't put that in my mouth.
Mine is literally not an original character though. So
But the way you play him is.
Yeah.
Miss Curry
Absolutely.
says all roads lead to Witcher, and that's not
They
wrong
should.
at all.
And they should.
As indeed they should. Okay, next question. This is for Kess, if I can find it, because Slido keeps rearranging my shit.
Yeah, okay, everybody answered the other one. Okay, go ahead, sorry.
So yes, Kess.
Yes,
Is there
yes.
anything we can know about your flower? Is it a class, race, background thing?
Mechanically, it is not a class, race, or background thing. It is... Because backgrounds are, you know, like a thing that is a mechanic thing. It's not a race thing. I mean, it could be a class thing because she's a druid, but it's not necessarily a spell of anything of any kind. It's kind of something that Zach and I homebrewed up for her based on past experiences that she has had. That's what you can know.
And that's
So
all you want to
no.
say at this time?
So there's no.
Huh?
There's nothing we can know other
I
than
mean,
it's
Just
not a
that it's not.
It's not on my character sheet.
Oh,
So you can know that. It's not a thing on my character sheet. It's because of a past interaction and experience that she has had with someone.
It is deceptive though, because
Or
that is a very
something.
druid. That is a very druid-like thing.
Yeah.
will they have a spell?
You have,
that can do
yeah,
that?
you have like.
Yeah, you have druidcraft, but she actually doesn't have druidcraft. So
Ooh,
this is just
that's a nugget.
This is,
Anonymous.
this is just a homebrew thing
Just
Zach
just
and
a
I
thing.
came up with based on some thing that
There
has
have been hints, but
happened.
there has been nothing that anyone should be able to figure out. We'll get there. We'll get there. Anything else you'd like to add to that? What? She's thinking hard. She wants to talk.
I do want to talk so bad. I love it. No, I'm good.
That scene where Pearce and Q, the like, go try to snoop was good.
Yeah.
Like, I liked that moment of like, because Pearce is not the kind of guy that's gonna like keep it to himself. Like you said, he's just like, what's that?
Yeah.
And you deflected.
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, very well.
And Stevo might have. Go ahead. What?
She didn't think. I don't think that she's. I think she would talk about it. I don't think that it doesn't. It doesn't make her uncomfortable to talk about it, but she's unsure on. To be honest, she's unsure exactly what it is. She doesn't have all the answers. That's kind of a thing that the DM has. That Zach and I talked about this thing, and he kind of now has it. You know, he can do whatever he wants with it. So really,
Man, there's some-
You
Here's
gave
some-
him one of those too.
Big fat teasers in this episode. I love it.
yeah.
There are. There really
So,
are.
She's not really. She wasn't even like. She didn't really even think anything about it until Jindy pointed it out and was like, we're going to get to the bottom of this. And then she was like, wait, is this something weird? Like, you know, she didn't realize anything. And now everybody's kind of questioning her about it. And she's like, wait, what if I don't even know what this is? Like, what, you know? So it's just, I feel like she would tell some things about it just in an alleyway after they stole a bag. I don't think it was the right time.
Right. And I will say that flower has led to some of my favorite roleplay moments in the campaign so far. Like that moment that you just mentioned with Jindy, and it was just like she was very much so like wanting to know what this was, and like that back and forth between you and her, of like her wanting to know what it was, and you being alarmed that she would even care.
Yeah. Because to
So,
Kess,
like-
at first, it was just not even a big deal. She literally was living with druids. They were doing all kinds of weird things in Evercrest. So, and now she's like with people who are not druids. And this also, I can say this is not something that she had going on when she was at home with her family. So,
Right.
this is kind of the first time that she's seen the outside eyes have kind of looked at it and kind of are making her self-conscious about it, because now she's a little like, oh, I don't know.
I think it's like when you're a kid and you go to somebody's sleepover or something, or you go to another person's house for the first time and they do a weird thing and it's so normal and you're watching it and you're like, that's a weird thing that they're doing.
Right.
And they're doing it like nothing. And you're just like,
Do you not summon
shooting their
random
name
ghost
in the
flowers
wall?
too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
yeah, they're just, so it's different strokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that flower has led to that moment with Jindy, as well as Pearce, when you guys were in the alleyway and Q asked you what she was doing. It was so subtle, and I don't even think you realized you did it. But Loch actually pointed it out to me later, during one of the 4 times that she watched the session that week.
At
But
least.
you, like, when you guys are watching her do that, and he asks like a little kid, like, what is she doing? And you have like, I've never seen delivery like this in a D&D campaign, but you were just like, I don't know. It was so subtle,
simple, but so good.
If you go back and watch it, like, it's mind-bogglingly.
So it's funny because Locke sent me the clip. She goes, "It's right about here," and I went back and watched it, and I was like, "What is she talking about? Like, was it when I said I don't know? That didn't come off to me as like from my perspective, like a."
It's so inquisitive.
It was so
Okay.
subtle, and just the delivery was fantastic, and like I don't know,
Just good shit.
It was just good.
Thank you.
Somebody hit the good shit button. So, next question comes from Spencer, who abbreviated his name as Spank. I'm going to say Spank. Spank. Real quick for Kess. This kind of goes into the last thing we were talking about. I don't think she can answer this, but who is the mysterious presence that Kess converses with while planting her offer?
I don't think she views it as an offering, by the way.
Way to deflect and still say something.
I will say it is a friend.
It's not a foe.
It's not a foe. Kess
It's a friend.
genuinely sees this being as a friend that just might possibly not like civilization and being around people. So
Oh, so it's
Kinda-
cute.
it's just kind of
You're talking
Kess's
cute.
way of trying to stay in touch, and
Eric asks if this quote-unquote friend has insurance.
Wait, why do they need insurance?
Dorf selling it? Like,
I guess Dorf needs insurance. Like, they're on a dangerous mission, man. I don't know. For Pearce, this is also for Pearce. This is also from Spank. Who hurt
benefits. He said benefits.
Who hurt you?
Oh, sorry. Who hurt you?
you? Who hurt you? Is your past the reason you refuse/fail to acknowledge people by their real names?
So yeah, Pearce has an issue with people. Pearce actually, like, his backstory as it comes out, like, obviously I won't tell you everything now, but his backstory is not terribly tragic. He's just like a lost person, and he does have this like sense of entitlement and wanting to appear strong and feeling weak. And so one of the things he does is he sort of objectifies people in the sense of like, are they useful? Are they a threat? Other than that, I don't really care about them. And so it's the thing about Pearce, like, being able to be a good guy or a bad guy, depending on like how things go and how things play out, is just more like, you know, he's that lost boy who tried to grow up too fast and tried to take power in ways that were potentially negative, because he wanted to survive, and then being influenced by the people around him. You know, he wasn't really hurt by anybody. He's just kind of a shit.
It's kind of a shit.
what's our party name? Kind
He would think
Kind of
he
a
would
shit.
think he was hurt. He would think he was hurt by family and
So
the
he's got a lot
bounty
of growing
hunters
to do,
that he
is what you're
run with. But yeah, yeah, if you were to ask Pearce, he would say he's been hurt by everybody.
How old is Pearce? We know Kess is 21. We know Q is 8, 9.
So I was trying to remember that, what my original construct was, and I don't know if I remember if I originally wrote it down anywhere, but I think of him as being like 24.
Okay.
Where which to Pearce would be the age at which you think you know now.
Yeah.
You think you are old enough to know.
Yeah.
And he thinks he has the answers and he does not.
Right.
Would you say Pearce is like an old soul though? Like he feels.
Or does
like
he think he's an old soul?
No, yeah, he's definitely not an old soul. He thinks he's wise.
Yeah.
He thinks he's got it, but yeah. So to answer the question, he thinks he's been hurt a bunch, but he hasn't. He's got sort of a persecution complex.
I know that Spencer is so like not okay with this answer.
He's not.
He's just like, I want to know who. I want to know. I want answers.
I need to know.
Pearce is the one that has done the hurting, and also doesn't realize that.
Yeah.
So he's got a young white guy complex.
Yes.
Oh no.
No.
Yes, he
Oh,
does.
gosh.
A bit.
He is not. I mean, not Kylo Ren.
He needs to be put in his place a little bit. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Yes. Not.
Okay,
Not. He's not a Kylo Ren like archetype. Like he's not an outbursty kind of that kind of. But it's not that.
It's just a very Green Day American Idiot vibe.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
The world owes
Oh my
me.
God! Pierce thinks he's the Jesus of suburbia.
Yeah. That would be. Yes. That's the way to put that.
Cool.
Jen just sent me this question. Let's see. Someone asked, "What does Q think of the relationship between himself and Augustus?"
Oh gosh. I think that Augustus was one of the first people in the party to speak to him nicely because Q was an asshole at the very beginning and was wild, and I don't think a lot of the party knew how to deal with that. And the way Augustus handled that, and Jindy too, was sort of parental. They jumped in and was like, "Don't do that," you know. And I think that was comforting to Q. I think that was something that he had missed if he ever had it in the first place. So that gave him sort of a paternal vibe that he had never really had.
Just a glimmer of comfort.
Yeah, and I think that he definitely sees him as like saying something. I know we talk about him as a kid a lot, but saying something he's like a father figure is too strong. But he is that older brother. He is that comforting, more mature presence, I think, to Q that Q never realized he needed. And when you find a presence in your life that you didn't know you needed, you get attracted to it really quickly. And so I think that Augustus is a very strong, sturdy something for him. And I think there's a question later that maybe I'll save the rest of that for. But
so he's a bit of a foundation that Q has never really experienced before. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think my parents IRL thought that like kids that got in trouble just needed a good, strong role model, and that would just fix kids, you know, that were troublemakers. You just need one good, strong role model. I think they're wrong, but I think it did happen to Q. I think like he's a troublemaker, and I think Augustus is that one strong role model that could keep him from being that, while Kess and Pearce are probably not the best role model.
but also like Augustus is, it's not that other people in the party necessarily treated him like shit because Jindy gave him his little crown.
Right.
But Augustus is definitely the only one that has treated him with respect, like treated him like an adult, and not just in that teacher like way. Like other people will go have fun with Q or like involve him in some way, but Augustus is the only person that talks to him with any level of like real respect, because he'll answer a question without making you feel dumb or whatever. So it's not, just you have a question, here's the answer.
And that's another testament to like Hrothmar's commitment to that character, because Augustus is a teacher, so it's his job to, not necessarily his job, but like he probably feels like, I don't want to speak for him, but he probably feels like it's his calling in life to answer things like that with respect to make you not feel like a moron.
And
I think that Q respects that. Yeah.
I feel like I know that me, Goon, and Zach have had teachers in college that have become our friends and our role models at the same time, and people that we confide in, and that's how I kind of see. They're not necessarily like parental figures or anything like that, but it's just a different mentors. Yeah, and that's kind of
you like to stand on the desk and say, "Oh, Captain, my captain."
Exactly. Yes.
To an Augustus like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to take your textbook and tear it up.
Yeah.
I spent $500 on this textbook. I'm not tearing it up.
Gonna sell it back and get $20 for it. Yeah.
You could have made us buy a 50-cent composition notebook from the Dollar Tree. Why did we have to buy this for class?
Can we do it symbolically?
Rip.
Everybody practice your Foley work.
This one is actually for me, and it feels fucking weird to ask myself a question, but was it difficult to invent a game? And are there any plans for an eel tournament session? So, regarding an eel tournament session, doing that one first, there are no plans for one, but that doesn't mean there won't be one, because there were no plans for an eel in the first place. So, stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
As far as was it difficult to invent a game? I mean,
you had fun inventing that game.
I had fun, yes and no, because like I'm a writer just by nature. Like it's how I see the world, and it's how I communicate whatever the shit happens up in here. Like it's how I sort my thoughts. So being able, it's a very different sort of thing, like from writing a novel or a graphic novel or something like that. It's very different to create a campaign module, but at the same time it's liberating, because one of the most difficult parts of writing is creating characters and having consistent motivation, and that is not my job.
I think they're asking specifically about eel.
Right. I think that what is going to happen is in a few months. I think there's going to have to be one of those recap clip shows where like we're in between, and like all the characters are just like reliving moments of the past while playing eel. That's fair. And yes, Goon, you are right. I'm just a moron. I thought they were asking what it was like to invent a campaign setting.
No, because
your thing makes more sense.
No, but it was a good
it the way you heard it, but then as you were talking, I was like, no, I think they might just be talking about eel.
Just eel.
It took a week to invent eel, like to come up with the rules for eel. Like I basically, between giving you guys eel cards and that next Wednesday, I was like pretty much every day being like, okay, what could we do for this? How can I make this satisfying, but at the same time not so difficult that it takes 6 years to explain? And I don't know that I succeeded. Like, it's difficult to explain, but it's easy to figure out once you start playing it.
Once you play it, you know what it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it was, I don't know, it was just this silly, dumb thing. And like I said on the last episode of Spilling the Ale, that's the sort of thing that's, I feel like, is memorable most of the time in D&D, is the stuff that just gets made up and riffed on. But difficult. What was that going?
Well, I think I like Stevo's idea of us doing an eel tournament and then using it to like either clip show or like shove in some of our backstory that we hadn't got to, but we feel is important for the next journey.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like it's
who's down for an eel-based exposition dump?
Right. All right, fam, we're gonna have a lore dump evening. Get your shit ready.
Everything exposition and lore eel. Something. There's something.
That's good. That's good. I don't know that we're gonna do it that way, because I feel like that is a good idea, but at the same time, I feel like big lore dumps and exposition things are best coming not from the player, or especially not from the DM, but from the moment that it feels right.
Yeah.
So I don't know that we would do something like, oh, there's an eel tournament and we're just going to be like playing poker and spilling all of our,
Ale?
deepest, darkest secrets, spilling all of our ale. Yeah. Let's see. Jen just sent me another question. Anonymous asks, to each player and the DM, what is your favorite moment in the campaign so far? I'm going to have to think about that, so I'm not going to go first. Anyone who wants can speak up.
I have two.
Okay, go ahead.
I'll
allow it.
First one being the smut book. I don't think I've been more proud of anything ever, to be honest.
Well executed.
Yeah.
Very, very well done. Very well done.
And I'm sorry, guys. I keep going back to my apartment. Like, I just keep going back to that one line that Augustus had just
Said
about
it with such
him.
helplessness.
Yes, it literally, it wrecked me. And he's just like, my apartment. And I was just felt it on. It's so good. So, yeah, those I have a lot of other favorites, but those two just.
I was gonna say, yeah. If we're going with one of each, our favorite moment that we did, like our character, and then one of like our favorite moment of the rest. I think that Q's favorite moment would be, honestly, weirdly enough, causing Augustus to fly. I think that was like doing. With that mentor mentality that he's got with Augustus, is like, hey, look what I can do. I think that was fun, and I think it was just in my head a really good moment. And as far as the whole campaign, I like from beginning to end the bathhouse scene where we all get naked in the bathhouse, not the bathhouse that we saved the gold from, but the one where we were all got together. I just think that moment, from that moment on, you can almost kind of like plant a flag in it and say this is where they started becoming a party instead of just a bunch of jackasses standing in circles. Mm-hmm. Like, it just felt like they opened up to each other. And I mean, when you just strip naked, you're bearing it all to your...
Quite literally, yes.
So I liked that whole scene because I think that the inner party dynamic was starting to really show off.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think for my favorite moment, like in terms of like me being proud of myself, was actually in the last session, and I didn't think about it until I was there. Was when they were going on the roller coaster.
Yes.
And then Zach's describing getting up very high, and I was like, Pearce is probably not having fun per se, but he also very much wanted to be invited onto it, but he wasn't going to do it himself. But now that he's here, let me see what I can see. And then like, of course, Pearce is like doing recon and not at all enjoying this thing, was something that I was like just like personally very proud of. And then I totally agree with those other moments, but I think like just from a character standpoint, my favorite moment was that I've referenced before, was when like Kess came over and actually prodded Pearce and was like, hey, are you okay? And like me as a person, I was like, I was not expecting that. And like Pearce also was like, I wasn't expecting anyone to come ask me how I'm doing. Right. No one's done that before. Mm-hmm. How am I doing? Like, and that moment was like, oh, that might have been a little crack in the armor of like maybe actually being able to be friends with someone here.
Very interesting. It's such a small thing, but so important.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like how though he didn't even really, he thought she was also wanting help, like, or not wanting help, but like confiding in him, I guess. Cause then like, he started like trying to kind of help her while deflecting, I think it was was really happening. And she was like, well, I'm fine. I was asking about you. Like,
I think that shows Pearce's character really well, because it's like, oh, she must not actually want to see if I need help.
Yeah.
She must want something from me. That's his first go-to.
It's like a little bit of jaded, like
Yeah.
Right.
That was great reactionary instinct, Stevo. Mr. O.
Thank you.
Steve. My favorite moment comedically was definitely I've got macrons.
Macrons, yeah. Oh,
Mac
yeah.
runs.
So well set up.
Yeah.
Well timed.
Yeah.
And that's the type of thing that going back, it's like, did Zach and Hrothmar plan that? I assure you, we did not. I was very taken aback.
I had like even a shock moment of like, oh my God, that's the kind of joke like Stevo would make, but it was such a serious moment. So there's a quarter second before everybody explodes into laughter where I worried about his joke at that moment, given how serious it was. And then as soon as everybody broke, I was shriek laughing so loud I woke up the entire house.
The entire like time you were doing that deep monologue, Kess was processing and trying to figure out what in the world she was going to say to him. And then when Augustus said that, Loch was relieved because then I didn't have to like it then became a different type of moment. Because I was just trying to process like what in the world is Kess going to say about this. And there was this moment where I was like after he said that, I was like, was that too heavy? Because I didn't have anything planned to break that up. I didn't have anything planned for that to be funny. It was
but then
heavy.
like I thought about it and I was like, okay, if he said that, I can pretty much do whatever I want to, and they're gonna balance it out no matter what.
Oh, and Jen mentions in chat, and I did the exact same thing. It prompted me to order macarons to the house like the next week.
we need to be sponsored by macarons. Like give away, do a macaron giveaway at intermission, kind of thing.
Yeah, we should do that.
We could have like one colored macaron per character with like a little hat on top or something to rep.
Yeah. Like a tri-corner Pearce hat. Jedi and Mike say singing fish was their favorite moment. That was a fun one. As far as like one that I'm pretty proud of was the moment last session with Jindy and Saloon. That I was pretty proud of that one. Like as far as like
so many freaking times I've watched it. It's so good.
That was fun.
The shuffle gods were on your side too.
Freaking playlist.
We gotta talk. We have to talk about the music just real quick.
Yeah.
Okay, so I just want to say, what I do is normally we listen to a YouTube playlist. Well, YouTube was down last week, so we listened to a Spotify playlist that I had pre-made like months and months and months ago.
By the way, we have permission from Blizz to use World of Warcraft music. Like that's all on the up and up. So when she says we use Spotify, that's cool.
Yeah, Blizzard music on Spotify. I use Spotify to play it. Anyways, so like all the stuff's happening with Jindy. She steps, literally, he's like, you step into the temple. The song changes and the song that plays titles named Temple of the Moon.
Well, I thought you switched songs when it happened in the moment.
No, and if you go back
Stevo,
and
God did that.
if you go back and watch if you go back and watch my face, I literally I am like in shock. First of all, it's a beautiful moment, so I was in the moment, and then I like looked over at the playlist, and then I was like in shock, and then I made like a face like I was about to cry because I was just like
But that kind of things happen more than once on the show,
Yes,
where the music synced up.
It happened in Pearce's dream as well.
Yeah, when Zach was talking about Pearce's nightmare.
Yeah, whenever Zach said something
What
like
was the music?
it didn't have the name wasn't the same thing. It was just the way
But
the music was like
it picked
swelling.
Swelled.
At a time when he was discussing it, and it gave me a bunch of adrenaline during that.
Yeah.
Right.
It like Zach said something like you fall to the ground dead or something like that, and the music just like swelled, and then Pearce's nightmare restarted, and whenever it restarted, it went into this like really beautiful, like just like dream music after the swell, and I was just like, Zach, listen to this after the episode. Like, it's
D&D is just happy accidents. All of it is just happy accidents.
Yeah.
It's like a little bit of planning and then a lot of happy accidents.
yeah.
That's the best part about it. So good, so good, so good. This is from a random not Jedi. When is Pearce going to get better guns? They keep misfiring.
No, it's when is Pearce gonna get better dice?
Right.
Pearce needs to reload soon. So like now in my head, I'm getting like, oh, I don't know how to find and or make bullets. So that's going to be a thing that we deal with in the next episode or two in some form or fashion, or that Pearce has to deal with. And like from what I understand about like the world, like guns are super rare. They're few and far between. There are very few places you'd see them. So he may not ever get new guns. He may be, I don't know if he can improve upon them or something in some way, but I mean, he's got what he's got, and that's probably going to be that way for a while.
So you didn't buy. Wait, you were not shopping. Stevo was not here for the shopping episode in Waterdeep.
No.
Would you have? And this is table talk. Just want to get through this real quick so I don't forget. Would you have purchased some bullets there if you had been here to do that?
Pearce would have done exactly what you did. You nailed it. He was the dad sitting and like waiting on everybody, like sitting and reading the World War II magazine. Like,
but would you have thought to try to purchase bullets while you were in the city?
Probably not. At that time, it wasn't like crazy. We weren't crazy low. It would not have occurred to me at all in any way, shape, or form.
Okay, because I was going to let you retroactively do that, but if you say no, then no.
Absolutely would not have thought to at the time. Also didn't necessarily need to. But yeah, he absolutely would not have spent a single penny on anything while they were out there. He was just waiting on people to wrap it up.
That's fair. But like, that's one of my favorite things about the gunslinger class is that the guns hit so hard and do so much damage, but the way that the grid point mechanic works and like the way that misfiring works, it keeps it very, very balanced. Mm-hmm. So like in the last combat session that we had, you used I think 2 grid points, and that boosted that boosted the critical failure chance to 1, 2, or 3. So if you rolled a 3, then it was a critical fail and your gun misfired. And I believe you actually did roll a 3. Mm-hmm. That's so cool. Like that's such a fun mechanic. I can't wait to see that.
Mechanic is amazing. Like from a game theory perspective.
So good. So good. Let's see. What this is from Anonymous. This is going to be a quick one. Why is Q spelled with a U and whatever those little 2 dots are? Sorry if that's a frequent question.
There's no reason. I like to my characters are spelled weird usually because it's a fantasy game. So I like to try to, again, he's based off Cubone, which is spelled Cubone. So instead, I just fucked around with it for a minute, and it was K umlaut. I think I had it spelled with like K 2 U's, like K-U-U.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, what else can we do with this sound?
Well, like the umlaut does specifically make you use that pronunciation with that U. Like, it's not just stylistic. That indicates that you're supposed to pronounce it as a U as opposed to ku.
Ku. Yeah. Or ka.
Yes.
So it does make sense. I think I went through a few different, and in fact, I think his D&D Beyond page, or one of them, was wrong for a while. Like it was my old way. So I do that is the long and short of it. My other character's name is Maxwell.
I do that.
And it's M''AKZWEHL. So Maxwell.
It is that. And I've been playing with Maxwell for a year and a half now. I cannot spell his name. I've tried a bunch of times. For Kess, real quick, this is from Spank. He's going to kill me. Does the flower's integrity, example, if the flower is trampled, affect the outcome or of Kess and her current state?
No. Once the flower is planted, nature takes it over. Anything could happen to it. So
that low-key just gave me chills. Once the
Loki.
flower is planted, nature takes over.
Balance. It's all about balance.
Balance,
if she
man.
planted it in the snow, it would be planted and then well, actually it would survive in the snow. No. If somebody picks it, I think Jindy picked one of them. It doesn't matter. Just once it's there, and then anything can happen to it.
Very interesting. You'll never know asks for Q. Well, it doesn't say for Q, but I definitely can't answer. Who is Mother really, though? And answer as much as you're comfortable with. This is you.
Okay. Okay. So there's two answers, and I'll try to do this as quickly as possible. There are two answers to this question. Mother is Q's mom. Like Mother, when Q says Mother, he is speaking to his mother, who was another kobold, whose name was Marrow. Whack. Pokemon. And so Q is speaking to Marrow. Marrow is his mother. That's not information that's ever been given, so y'all take that. Whether or not that's Mother answering, or Goon doesn't know. That's like Goon doesn't know at all.
DM thing again.
I wrote Zach a blank check, and when you write a DM a blank check, they're gonna cash that shit for a lot more than you were expecting. So I don't know what's happening any more than you do.
I don't know what's happening.
And that's the way I like to play Q. What's on his character sheet is the only thing.
God, that does work with his personality, just everything about Q and everything about mechanically the way that we built the weird shit that he does and the way that you play him, it marries perfectly.
He has, I like to think that Q has, there's BM and AM. There's before Mother, BMD and AMD, before Mother died and after Mother died, and that is how he sees his whole world. So that's all he thinks about, and everything else is he's a very in the moment character, which is scary as shit to me, and why he's partially my anxieties. So that's who Mother is.
That's so beautiful, though. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And another one for Q. This is also from Spank. Does Q have any other oddities in his possession besides the candle hand? The handle.
He has a wax candle made out of a hand that's partially burned down. Not as burned down as it could have been. He has a magic item that we've not seen yet. We all got to roll a magic item or pick a magic item at the very beginning of the campaign, and Q's never used his.
I can't even remember what it is.
I think you can find it on. I'm not going to say it in case you can't.
I'm going to look.
I think it's there, and if it is there, I can talk about it. But I don't know if he'll ever use it. But I don't think he's a collector. On Critical Role, the great Chris Perkins, writer for D&D, played a really good kobold
for like 7 minutes.
For 7
minutes. Spurt, who was he had baubles and all that kind of stuff, and I didn't want to copy that, even though I did do almost a very similar voice. I just feel like that's a kobold.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to copy that, so I didn't have him be a collector of things until Jindy gave him that ring. And now I think he likes rings, which he thinks
he basically became a dragon in that moment, like a little miniature dragon.
Yes. So I think he's got his eye on Augustus's ring that he got that Kess stole. And any other rings that the party has, like Q is going to be after. And that's the extent of Q's weird items, and the skull from his mother.
That's a pretty weird one, yeah. And you've been very forthright about what that is.
Right there.
This is Mother.
It's Mother.
Okay. This one is from Anonymous, and this is specifically for Q. But I'm gonna have all of you answer, and all of your answers are gonna be a little bit different, I think. So is there any specific inspiration for Q's voice? And I'm going to because like not everyone, because like Q has a specific character voice. I think this means that, but I think this question can also mean the
Tone.
narrative
Tonality.
voice and the narrative tone that you have. So let's twist that way. What sort of inspirations do you have for voice, both literally and figuratively?
I think, okay, so every time I say something that I'm going to answer quick, I don't. So Chris Perkins's Spark character is, I think, first off, he literally writes the books of D&D. So I couldn't have gotten too far away from his kobold because he is the guy that writes kobolds into existence. I mean, I know he wasn't originally, but he is the current. So I definitely went from there. I think as far as tonality and the way he says things, Buster Bluth became an inspiration pretty early on because of something Zach said. That I actually think it was before the stream. I think it was during our creation of Q that you said he sounded like Buster Bluth. And so I mean, I think what he says is a lot of that. And I do think that Smeagol is another addition to his voice. So if you marry Spurt, Buster Bluth, Smeagol, you get Q.
I'm a monster! Monster! What about you, Kess?
She was supposed to have that accent.
I mean, that's why I said literally or figuratively, like as far as the narrative tone.
Narrative tone. That goes back to the whole question of like what has like surprised you, because I just thought she was gonna be like a lot more upbeat, and I think really it's just myself also coming out in her, like
Right.
that happens, and I don't mean for it to happen, but it does, just because I guess I'm just doing 1,000 things and then also trying to react to stuff, and so it's just also kind of sounds like myself, but
Sure.
But as far as her rambling, and which is what I'm doing right now, we talked about that earlier, and about how that just kind of, I feel like it's a little more real for a character to ramble than to have like a one-liner and then just like be, done.
Right. To speak in Shakespearean prose. Yeah. I get that. What about you, Stevo?
I mean, I talked about the literal voice being, witchery.
Yeah.
And as far as like the narrative voice goes, I don't know if this is actually going to answer the question. I think it will, but I sort of, after playing Pearce for a little bit and sort of realizing sort of what I wanted to do with him and what was important about him to me, was dealing with this, like what I consider to be the modern day villain, like in our own lives, like right now, like IRL, like the things that I sort of actively sort of find myself coming up against and fighting against, is that Pearce style of character, and that level of insecurity and that level of entitlement and that level of, so I feel like Star Wars started to do this with Kylo Ren, and then sort of they did redeem him, but not in a way that I felt like was terribly satisfying. Just like they didn't deal with any of his issues. They just sort of made him realize. And so I wanted to do, like, I wanted to see when you take this character, like what becomes of him. Like, and I don't know that he is someone that can be redeemed or not. That will be written. But I wanted to sort of put myself in the shoes of something that I abhor in a way, and play it out and see how the party reacts to him and builds from there. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Are you saying that you see, to put it simply, an evil in the world, and Pearce is your way to try to justify that? Like, you're trying to figure out, maybe try to see the actions of the people that you don't like in the world and try to
maybe try to make sense of it.
Make sense of it, and to teach myself how to properly combat that as well.
Or respond to it.
That's important.
Or respond to it. Yeah. Yeah.
And we don't know what misdeeds Pearce has done. We don't know if he's done anything absolutely abhorrent or if he will. you know?
Exactly.
So there's an interesting character study there, I think, for sure. And I think that it's D&D is deep, guys.
Yeah.
Gives you the opportunity to explore stuff and things. Moving on, because we could spend a whole lot of time on that question. Another anonymous question. Do you have any plans for a backup character if your character dies? How do you see them going out? So, like, as quickly as we can get through this.
I think the most likely thing that happens with Pearce is he either like reaches too far and gets bit by something, like not literally bit, but like he pushes too far and doesn't think about the consequence of it, or someone in the party kills him. I think those are the two most likely things that happen to Pearce. Do I have a backup character? I have no idea. That'll be in the moment.
Yep.
Okay.
My answer for that is the same, and as far as like, it'll just be whatever the party needs at the time. If we've all died, whatever, we'll see. And I think that Q's most likely way of dying is somebody's pissed him off. If you get Q mad, then I think he puts blinders on, and I think he'll do something stupid. Like,
I thought you were just about to say if he gets really mad, he just spontaneously combusts.
I mean, we'll see.
We don't know. He's a warlock.
Yeah, I think getting him really angry is might make him do something really dumb that could cause him to go out, and I think that's the most likely way.
Interesting. What about you, Lot?
Kess is getting really protective and loyal to a couple of different party members, and so I think if anybody messes with them, she'll lose it. So
Bow, bow, bow.
that could be, something that could get her in trouble, because I don't think she would think about what she did to try to help people.
Sure.
And then as far as a backup character, I don't know.
I heard Travis Willingham say one time that he doesn't cheat on his characters.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't create backup characters.
There's a homebrew class that I really, really, really like, that I'm like, okay, well, in our, like, the next campaign I'm in, like, long-running campaign I'm in, I might try that out. But as far as, like, a character with, like, I don't have anything planned. I know it's not good to not have a backup character, because your character could straight up die, but also, I'll just throw something together. I don't know. It's just, that's kind of fun
some of the
to
best
do.
characters.
There's something about having a character on the back burner that I feel like would take just what you're saying, Zach, in different words is that, like, I want to be hit. I want to be hit hard if, like, something happened to Pearce.
Yeah.
Like, I personally want to feel that, and if I have a character back there, I'm not going to feel it so much.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense.
Eric just deleted his backup character.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, next one. Moving right along. Powering through the list. This is my favorite question, I believe, of the night so far, and we did not have it last week. If you did not voice your characters, what celebrity would you get to do it? Loch?
Laura Bailey.
Would you like to go first? Because I know you know the answer. Go ahead.
Laura Bailey, and I would just be like, do whatever here's the character, do whatever you think. Like, don't listen to me. You are a work of art yourself, and you just take it and just could do whatever the heck you want with it.
The background screen on Loch's phone is Laura Bailey.
It's Laura Bailey.
Sitting with plants.
Oh no, it's not right now. It's
it's not? Okay.
it's Little Bubbles, but it was Laura Bailey with plants, because she inspires me every single freaking day. Like, just love her so much.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna say Henry Cavill. I'm gonna say Steve Bloom, who voices a lot of gruff characters like Wolverine and stuff. So I think he would be able to be gruff, but like with some personality coming through there. So I would say Steve Bloom.
Yes.
We got to meet Steve Bloom. He's a stand-up guy.
Freaking amazing. Yeah, he's really shy.
Yeah, he is.
He's very shy.
He's such a talent. He plays Zeb in Star Wars Rebels.
Star Wars Rebels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good answer. I love that for
really
Pearce. What about you, Q? Who in the inevitable Secret Adventures Society animated show.
I do apologize to whoever has to do it. I mean, I think Gilbert Gottfried is a good candidate. I'm the king now.
Oh gosh.
I think
It hurts.
probably honestly Tony Hale, Buster Bluth, or if we wanted to do a gritty reboot, then it would be why did my mind went blank? The CG guy, Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis.
Could do if we wanted to do a gritty reboot with Q,
Yeah.
but and then he could just play Q, and you could CGI him. But I think Tony Hale would play a good. He did what, Forky from
Yeah.
Forky from Toy Story 4. Yeah.
I think he's done animation before, and I think that like if he could just channel Buster Bluth but with a high pitched voice, then I think he could do it.
We have actually a couple of recommendations in chat for Q voice. Jedi Test says Bobcat Goldthwait.
Yeah.
Bobcat Goldthwait would be a great Q.
And Miss Curry says Yeardley Smith,
Who voices Lisa Simpson actually, and
yeah,
super good.
Which is good because you just compared him to Bart. I think Yeardley Smith is actually even better than everything we've said so far. I would enjoy Bobcat's interpretation of Q, but I think he gets down into that lower register.
What about Tommy Wiseau?
I am the king. I am.
Is that a timely reference? It's definitely not.
Timeless reference.
Okay, next question. Oh God. Anonymous asks of Q, how do you grow your character beyond a starting inspiration? Do you feel limited at all by that starting point?
God, I could, and if anybody's interested, I can do an entire YouTube video series on that question. But
read the question again, because I was thinking about Peter Capaldi as Dorf. Sorry.
Peter Capaldi as Dorf would be great.
That was sorry.
Oh my God.
What was the question? Because I totally was in my own head.
It was for Q. How do you grow a character beyond starting inspiration? Do you feel limited at all by the starting point?
I'm gonna answer that very simply. I swear to God this time. But I can spend hours. We could spend multiple hours talking about the answer to this question.
Side note: you should do that, but go ahead.
Well, you help me, and we'll get it. We'll throw it together.
Okay.
But my short answer to the question is, I like to. What do you want to play? Which class do you want to play? And pick. Create your character. Now, once you have that character, what class would that character be if they weren't that class? So like my bard Maxwell is a cleric, but he's a bard, but like he acts like a cleric, and that's how I grow my characters, is like make a decision that is Maxwell's the best one I've done so far. I'm still trying to figure out the answer to Q. So make a decision as to what that character would be. He's good at music, he's not religious, but he is also a healer, so like put him in that position. And then how would your character answer that question? Again, I need spreadsheets.
You need to teach a college course on this.
But I think that to answer your question, if your character wasn't the character that they were, what would they be? What did they want to be? What is their viewpoint of the world? That's my first. And as far as Q goes, I think that like he didn't want to be a player character is probably the best answer. He didn't want to be an adventurer. He wanted to be a survivor and the son of a mother who died. Like he wanted his mother not to have died. He wanted to just live life and retire and die. Not retire. That's not a thing. And I think that's how I play him, is like shit just happened to Q. How would I react if I was in his position?
Because probably the stuff that happens to Q has never happened to another kobold in history.
We'll see, won't we?
At least in this world, probably. Kobolds
so far, no.
Yeah. Let's see. This is from Nice Ghost for Stevo. Does Pearce feel like he's close to anyone in the group? Is he trying to not get too close and trying to not see them as friends?
Yeah, and this is sort of one of the questions I was anticipating, which I don't want to stomp on any toes here, but when you asked about what does Pearce think about the other party members, is sort of where this ties in a little bit. So
we can say that, like, if you're like, if you wanted to elaborate on that, that's going to be our last question.
Yeah,
if you want to hold on to that.
I'll elaborate on that when we get there. But the short answer to your question is yes.
Okay. Wait.
That's how you do that. Okay.
That's a yes. Hold on. Yes to which part? Because those are two false.
Is Pearce trying not to get too close to anybody in the group? The answer is yes.
Okay. The other part of that question, I do still want a yes or no answer to. Does Pearce feel like he is close to anyone in the group? Like despite his wishes? Does he feel himself growing? Okay, go ahead.
Not close, but closer. It is relative.
What about you, Q?
Oh.
Yeah. Do you feel like that was for Pearce, but like, do you think you are close? Besides Augustus, like that's kind of.
Q wakes up and every day is a new adventure. So I think his closeness bar kind of resets every morning. I think
it's the guy from Memento
like
every time.
Memento for 51st days. I think he enjoys the company. I think he respects Jindy and Augustus as sort of parental, but not parental, but older figures for him, which everybody's older. And I think he thinks Kess and Pearce are sort of the same. Like they're just like cool older siblings that he wants to hang out with, and they seem to like him, so he's doing that. And then his situation with Dorf, he hasn't figured out Dorf yet. Like I think he doesn't know what to think. He's kind of hyper focused on this hedgehog and a beard.
That's fair.
And I don't think he sees past that with Dorf yet.
What about you, Loch? Are you trying to avoid getting close to anyone in the group, or is this something that you could best answer later?
I think I could answer it better later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whenever we hit the question that's
sort of becoming our closing question, at least until we get to everyone.
The one I'm afraid of, yeah.
Yeah. Jen asks, our resident Jen, of course, asks, fancy drinks. Does Kess come from a wealthy background?
Oh yeah.
Okay. That was a very quick question. Moving on.
How you do that?
That was a resounding.
I mean,
your girl got money.
It's not just like, it's not wealthy. It's whatever is higher than wealthy. Yeah. Yeah.
She got that Rockefeller money.
Pinky's out.
Yeah. Her background has the money.
Right.
So Kess doesn't have it with her.
Because that's not how D&D works.
No.
This is, oh god. I'm scared of this one. Another fan asked, does Loch have any issues with ZW being GM and her husband? Does it make for a difficult dynamic? Does it make it more fun? No difference at all.
I fucking love that question, whoever wrote that.
Okay.
I feel like I need to go get more wine before this question is answered.
Maybe you should just go get wine while she answers.
I'll be right back.
He literally went to. I'm waiting. I want to see his face.
I want to see your damn face.
Oh gosh! Right now would be a great time for us to plug our YouTube channel. Which, if you guys are not following, why are you not? Why? Also, we have a Twitter. Guys, we're about to hit 100 Twitter followers too. We just hit 100 subs on YouTube. So why didn't all of our YouTube subs follow our Twitter?
Follow us on Twitter.
Guys.
Yeah, get to it.
Yeah.
All right, so next question.
Nope. I didn't answer it.
She wanted to wait to see your face.
I plugged socials. Okay. So, let's get into this. No, it's actually not like it's not a difficult thing. The only thing that drives me insane is I get so passionate and excited whenever I'm talking about literally anything with my character, anything with anybody else's character, and he's basically just like a brick wall.
He has to stonewall, yeah.
Yeah, and so like he'll ask me, well, what do you think is happening with this? And then I'll tell him, and then he won't say anything because he can't give me spoilers. And I'll be like, okay, well, like, you asked me something, then, like, talk to me about something that you can talk to me about, because I can't stand talking to a brick wall and I need to talk about this. So then we'll talk about backstories and stuff like that.
The problem is there's always a dead end. That every road leads to a question that I can't answer.
Yeah. So, and I get super, like, I've basically just been texting Goon now, like, whenever something comes up, because we can talk and speculate about things, and, like, I can't do that with Zach, even though I really, really, really want to. And then I'm sure he gets annoyed at me because after sessions, I'll be like, this was supposed to be this way, or this was supposed to be this way, or this check was supposed to be this kind of check. And I know he's just like, okay, shut up. Like, let me.
I'm not
be
like,
the
okay,
DM.
shut up, but I'm just like,
I'm one of those.
This is the exact face.
Yeah. I'm one of those people that, like, I don't think I will ever DM. I think I would make a great DM because of details, but not, I don't think I could play the part of each character. So that's why I don't ever want to DM. And so I get very detail oriented. And then when Zach is not being detail oriented, I am like, you forgot about these details. And I know I get on his nerves with that. But it's just because I get excited and passionate.
And I do want you guys to remind me if I miss a detail, because I am only human and I will miss details, and like that's okay. But you know, I do want people to remind me. I'm not like I don't resent you for being like, you missed this detail. But there are some times that it seems as if I miss details, but really I'm playing chess. So
purposefully hiding them.
Well, for example, 3 perception checks around the building the other day whenever I rolled a natural 20.
I stand by it. I stand by it.
No.
But also, like, you know, what you're saying, Zach, you know, when we used to have a podcast, and so I would ask people questions and they would answer, and I would be half listening to their answer and half prepping the next segment and question. So you are listening, but also running 6 other routines in your head at the same time.
Sure. And I will inevitably fuck stuff up. That just happens. But those 3 perception checks, there were reasons for all 3 of them, yo. Like, like a nat 20 can't get you out of everything.
Can I please explain?
No.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. First perception check, everybody in the group made one for the same thing, which was walking around the building and figuring the building out. And then on that one, I rolled a natural 20. Then you asked me to make one to find a rat, which I stand by. That was a good idea to stand by to make a rat check. But
Okay, so you have a problem with one of the 3 perception checks.
One of the 3. Because the last one was literally asking if there was a door or anything, and if we had made a perimeter sweep, we would have known. And I rolled a natural 20, so I would have known if there was a door.
Yeah, you're also looking for like windows and stuff.
It's a
like windows and like secret sorts of things.
Stevo,
like
how are you, dude?
I think what Zach is getting at here is that when you search first, when you do a perimeter check, there has to be a limit to that, because it would be tough to go, I would like to roll to see everything possible that I could possibly see about this house. Bam. And so Zach placed some limits on what the perimeter check entailed, because otherwise...
You were my friend first. I just want you to, I just want to put that out.
Oh, we should move along. Footloose and fancy free. No, it's like sometimes there are going to be checks.
No, it's fine.
That you have to. Do you not like rolling all those dice you have, Loch?
Yeah.
Not when I've already rolled a natural 20 for the exact same thing that I'm rolling for.
No. Okay.
Did you just mata me?
Yeah. So.
Oh gosh.
That one instance is the most difficult part of that exact instance has been the most difficult thing to answer your question, another fan.
Yeah, it's really
it's not that difficult. It's just it's frustrating, but not us being frustrated at each other necessarily, just frustrating because we want to talk about all these ideas that we have, but we cannot, you know?
Yeah, and I feel like I'm talking to a stone wall most of the time. So
Well, yeah. And like, just we try to keep the integrity of the story. Like, the only example I can think of that she was privy to other information before the rest of the party was literally just playtesting Eel, and that's because I had to playtest it with someone. And pandemic. So, but anyway, that is the answer to that. That's a very long answer to that question, but an answer nonetheless.
sorry.
No, that's totally fine. But Goon could also probably speak to that because Goon is married to a DM.
Loch, you, I, Marisha Ray, we're in a very frustrating club, which is why I think you and I bond, because we are both in 2 campaigns. One of each is run by our spouse.
Yeah.
My wife is the DM in the other campaign, and
My
so
wife.
I think that my wife, Loch, and I have an interesting relationship about of texting what's going on in each campaign after each session and nearly before every other session. And I think that friendship is important when your spouse is the DM.
Yes. You have to have somebody to talk to. I mean,
You have to have someone else.
to be honest, I would DM every single person that we play with. It's just
Direct message.
Yeah.
Yeah, not DM.
Yeah.
Dungeon Master.
Yeah. Sorry.
Acronyms, bro. So, Stevo, what would be, just out of curiosity, Nerdez is not a DM, but if she were, or if you were, what would the dynamic be there, do you think?
I think almost exactly the way you described it is like I would be aching because if I'm met with passion in some way, I have to reflect that same level, and it doesn't matter what it is, even if I don't know anything about it. If someone came up to me and they're like, "Oh, I want to tell you about this thing about soccer, but you don't care about soccer," I'm like, "No, tell me." Like, you're like, feed me your energy. Yeah. And then I try to reflect that. So like, if I'm unable to do that, I would have to be like, I would probably be physically moving and just being like dancing around and be like, this is me being excited about what you're excited about because I can't say anything about it, you know?
Yeah. I don't even get a dance though.
Because
I'm afraid you're gonna interpret
any movement,
I've got to-
you are such a wildly observant person. You are like, you pick apart all the details. Sometimes, like most often, you get them right.
I've
But
gotten to where I don't even look at him whenever I'm talking to him about stuff though, because I don't want to see.
it's better if we're in different rooms, just yelling across the house. Okay, so moving on, we got like 3 more questions that we need to get to, and we're running like way late. Is everybody good for 3 more questions?
I got 3.
Yeah.
Okay,
3 in me.
3 in ya. Unless someone else has something to ask, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. This is also from Anonymous. If your character was any other class other than the one they are now, what would it be? Kess.
Rogue.
Q.
Barbarian, which he was originally.
Pearce.
Probably Blood Hunter. Revert back to Blood Hunter, where we started.
Very nice. That was very. If any of you would like to elaborate on that.
Mine is not rogue because that's what I want. That's just because of what Kess background.
Sure.
Right.
I built Q to be a barbarian. He was supposed to be an angry little boy. Then you and I came up with the whole warlock thing, and I moved his stats around to reflect it.
The exact text that I got from Goon when he decided to make Q a warlock was, "I have an idea, but it's me at my neediest as a player." I will never forget that.
That was when I wrote him that blank check. I was like, I have an idea, but you're going to have to do all the work.
Oh, and I was so happy to.
Yeah, Zach was really excited whenever he was like, "We have a warlock."
I'm still
in the
excited
campaign.
over that.
So, yeah.
So Pearce, what you said that it would have originally been a blood hunter. What was the reasoning sort of behind that? Like, was there an aesthetic reason? Was there like
Part of it was being inspired by The Witcher, and I like the idea of the gray area of like, I'll do stuff for money, and if it's good, great. If it's bad, don't really care. You know,
Sure.
Surviving.
I'm yeah.
You're a survivor. You're gonna make
What?
You're a
What?
survivor.
What?
Keep on surviving.
What?
Okay. This is also for Anonymous. How different is it to play live in front of people, and who came up with the idea? I don't really know. As if I can speak to the last part of that question, I think after the Clerics for Medics one shot that we did, that was just supposed to kind of be a one-off thing that we did. Which, by the way, do you guys remember the fact that we raised $4,155 for charity?
Yeah.
Every
Like,
moment
that's
of my
the
life.
thing that brought us together over an 8-hour session, and it was the second time I had ever DM'd in my fucking life. So, like,
I can tell you exactly how Clerics for Medics happened. We were tired of feeling like we were not doing anything to help people in this pandemic, and we were talking about how all we want to do is stream D&D and show D&D to people. And then I was like, or Zach, you were like, let's do a charity stream, and
It was like they met.
yeah,
And
and then
everybody
we were
here in
like,
some way or form is a performer.
yeah,
Right.
Either by training or not. So I think that, I mean, for me, this is not my first tabletop RPG, but it's my first campaign, and so I mean, I don't know if I could not play it for an audience now.
yeah.
right. I think there was a moment, and it might have been during that one shot that we did, that Dark Star one shot that we did for Clerics for Medics. I think there was a moment that we all, like, we were just sitting on a break, because we had to take breaks every like hour and a half because we streamed for 10 hours that day. But there was a moment where we were just sitting on a break, and it was just kind of like, I think we would do pretty well doing this long term.
Right. And Loch, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I think I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We had been thinking about our other group. We were wanting to start streaming it, and then
In person.
pandemic happened. Yeah, we were going to stream it in person, and everything happened, and then we kept just like wanting to stream it, and then we had such a good Clerics for Medics group that, you know, we were like, let's do a campaign.
Which I don't like. I'm not fishing for compliments here, but like I don't know why you guys reached out to me other than just like we're pals, because
you're
I
because you're
was that it?
That personality.
Okay, because I was like I had never played D&D. Again, played different tabletop RPGs, but I'd never
I
played
think there
D&D.
was
So-
some point-
I knew beyond a shadow of a doubt that you would be fantastic.
Not just
Like,
that,
just-
but we've always wanted to do a project with you, Stevo. Like,
Yeah.
so it was just like, well, we know Stevo, like instantly,
Like everyone in our little group, I felt some sort of
do
creative
a
connection to.
project with
Like
them, yeah.
I felt like, and not to get like, you know, galaxy brain or anything, but it seems like there are some people that you're just drawn to creatively, and you want to work with them on some sort of project, and that's the case, at least for myself, for everyone.
For everybody,
like,
yeah.
Goon and I have done stuff like a million times in the past, and so I mean that just made sense. But then everybody else on the call, as we met through Mixer, which, by the way, this little project of ours has lasted through the shutdown of a whole ass platform.
Right.
So like that's not nothing,
No,
you know.
it's great.
Anyway, that got real.
Our next
Does anybody
charity
else have
stream will be
anything to add?
December. Our next charity stream will be December 12th at 2 p.m. It's a Saturday.
That was something I will add that. Speaking of the charity stream, is first off, when you told me Stevo was involved, I was really excited because we've worked together before, and I'm very hesitant about new people. And Stevo was one of like a very few handful of people that like clicked with me. I'm a weird person. I'm hard to get along with, but I don't feel like it. And Stevo,
I don't think that's true at
You're
all.
not hard to
yeah.
get along with at all.
You just listen. Okay. Anyway, okay.
He's about to tell all of us to go fuck ourselves. Just wait. Let us finish.
I don't like people quickly, I think is what it is people. I don't. And Stevo was like an immediate click, and you can go hear it on that episode of our previous podcast, Uncharacteristic. Like, there's a moment, the first like 2 minutes of that episode, I feel like you can hear me start warming up to Stevo.
It's quick.
It's very quick for me. But I said all that to say that I got really excited Stevo was involved. That made me feel really better that someone other than just Zach and Loch that I knew.
Thanks, fucker.
Really? Well, no. Listen, okay. And then I saw the numbers for clerics for medics, and I have seen other initiatives that look like they should have raised more numbers, raised like a third or a half or a quarter of what we raised. And so I saw this group that got together, and by all intents and purposes, barely any of us had ever worked together before. And like it wasn't just a flash in the pan. And I think we all felt that at that same time, looking at those numbers. And I know money's not important in that aspect, but like that was a marker of like we could do some change with that.
Right.
And I think that got me excited.
I mean, how many viewers were we able to keep during that first stream?
It was a lot for 10 hours.
Our average was like 1,500.
Like 2,000, right?
Yeah. We hit up to 3,000, I think, and then our average was about half of that. It was crazy.
And that still freaks me out, even though we're 7 months removed from it. It still freaks me out to think that we played D&D in front of that many people.
It's cool.
But
I don't think about it. That's we're gonna.
Oh, Goon.
Ladle.
So the barista asks, this is such a hard pivot. And if you guys have anything else you would like to add to that was a very deep question. And I feel like it all struck a chord with us emotionally. If you have anything else you'd like to add, because this next question is very fun and very silly.
Right.
I think that's more our shtick. What?
Loch, anything?
Huh? No.
The barista asks, what would your character get at Starbucks?
I like this question. And this actually, I think this happened in an episode. Pearce would get black coffee because that's what he thinks would get respect, but he wouldn't like it.
Sure.
He was like, coffee black and drink it and hate it.
It's like ordering a scotch to impress your girlfriend's dad.
Yeah, exactly. And it just burns the whole way down. And you're like, don't barf.
Yeah.
Kess would get a white chocolate frappuccino with whipped cream and extra white chocolate on the top.
But did you see what Speb said in chat?
Yeah, no, Loch would get a pink drink.
Okay,
Kess wouldn't get a pink drink, but Loch would get a pink drink.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. What about you?
Do they have bacon at Starbucks?
They have breakfast. They have like sous vide eggs and bacon. Yeah.
I think that's what I think. I think Q would order a quiche and some bacon.
A quiche. Oh my god.
I don't know if he would go for any caffeinated beverages at Starbucks. I think that he would order food and a water.
And a water.
Specifically meat.
I can see him walking up and being like, do you have any steak meat?
Stick meat.
Stick meat.
Stick meat.
Okay, last question. And this is kind of a beefy one.
This is the question.
This is the question. So, what do you think your character thinks of all the other party members? So we're gonna go through this one by one, and we're gonna start with Q.
Wait.
Okay.
But we save ourselves for last, right?
What do you mean you save yourselves for last?
Like,
what do our characters think of ourselves?
Of each other, yeah. Of the three of us on the call.
The three of us. Okay. Yeah. So we'll start with the ones that aren't on the call.
Oh,
so
nervous.
like, there's the three of you, and then there's three other party members. So like the ones that are not here, Jindy, Dorf, and
Augustus. I heard you trying to say Hrothmar.
Yeah, it was.
It's because he is Augustus. Like, they're so interconnected. Like, it's hard to separate.
Yeah.
And I think I kind of spoiled this question earlier for Q, and so I'm going to be sort of quick. I think with Augustus, he does think of a mentor, safety net. He has that sort of relationship with him. And I hope that Augustus consents to that, because like it's hard to be a mentor when you don't consent, to being that role model in someone's life.
Coming this fall to Lifetime, The Unconsenting Mentor.
Oh no!
Oh no.
Wait, that took on a connotation I did not want.
No.
That is a Lifetime.
That-
That made it worse.
That took on.
We know what you meant. We know what you meant.
You
We know
can
what you
go
meant.
Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Augustus, gosh, that throws a weird shade on what I was trying to say, on what I was about to say. I don't think Q would care much how Augustus responds to that. I think he just kind of inserts himself into relationships. I told you, it made it weird. Don't laugh at me. Because I don't think he's ever had to consider other people's feelings. That leads me to Jindy and Dorf, like specifically those two, in that he was so shocked that Jindy gave him the time of day, because she had seemed so, from his perspective, distant, and the fact that she was willing to sort of give him that position of power. This might actually be more Goon than Q, because I don't know if he actually thinks this hard. He thinks of her as kind of weirdly enough, the leader of the group, because she seems like someone who has a position of title. I think that he would think that about Pearce, except Pearce acts so not. And Q is a pack creature. He's going to look for pack dynamics, and Jindy has that captainness about her.
She's the captain now.
Comes off as alpha, if you're going to look at it as a pack structure. So as far as Q's concerned, even though Goon knows there's not like really a leader of the group, I don't think Jindy is like the boss, and that's why I don't think he talks to her as much. I think he's like, the Omega dog doesn't talk to the Alpha dog.
Sure.
So, and then Dorf, again, he doesn't look past that the weird little. I think he thinks Dorf's funny, but like he gets beated on the fact that he knows that there's something edible in his beard. I think he's just hyper focused with that. Although I do think, like, I sit and watch Dorf's moments, and he's got some of the funniest little one-liners. I don't think Q cares that much about those. I think he's hyper focused on Pickett. Does that answer those three?
It does.
Okay.
It does.
Okay.
Okay, so Kess, the 3 party members not present on this call.
Okay. As far as Augustus goes, Kess is a little afraid of Augustus's judgment, because she has heard him mention that he does not like thieves and that sort of thing. And so she's a little afraid of him, even though she doesn't feel like there's really anything to be. He's not threatening, but she just has a past that makes her just feel kind of like, I don't think he would approve, As far as Jindy is the only other girl in the group, so Kess feels a connection there, as far as like, she feels like she could possibly talk to her about things that she can't talk to any of the guys about. But also now she's just a little bit not afraid of Jindy, but like just the whole like flower thing made her be like, well, I don't know. Like,
Does she think I'm weird?
does she think I'm weird? Is that like, yeah, it's just kind of, it made Kess really like self-conscious, and made Kess feel like maybe she was doing something wrong, something that wasn't,
Right.
cool. And then as far as Dorf goes, y'all, I have some really crazy uncles.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No. Oh my god.
Dorf is like my crazy uncle's like in a cocktail. Like
Just like blended together.
yes. Zach is dying right now because I haven't said this to him.
Are these
Like-
uncles on your dad's side of the family?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So she gets that like silly like vibe from him, the same that I get like from my uncles, but also just like they're caring and they care about what's happening with you, but also like they don't care at all what people think of them, and they, you know, like they care about you, but they're gonna do whatever they want to do, and they're gonna say whatever they want to say, and they're always ready to I don't know. They're always ready. They're always up for a joke. They're always ready to laugh about something. And so
And they're
that's
always
how
ready to
she's...
fart in the pool.
Exactly. Sorry, my voice got high. So yeah.
Guys, I cannot begin to express how blown my mind is right now.
I haven't said
Like
that
a
to you
fart in the
because
pool.
I knew that the second I brought up like how much he was like them, like you would be like, oh my gosh. Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. Okay. I knew Dorf was familiar. I knew it. Okay, what about you, Pearce? How does Pearce feel? What is Pearce's impressions of the 3 party members not present on this call?
The 3 not present. So Q he finds annoying and doesn't and wants very much to not be responsible for his well-being.
Not on the call.
And
though.
Yeah, no. Not on the call.
Oh, right.
Not
Sorry,
on the
sorry.
call.
We would have gotten
Not on the
to
call,
that,
sorry.
But yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. But that, I guess that ties into Augustus, where he is glad that Augustus is there, and he completely underestimates Augustus's like ability and like the way he thinks. Pearce thinks Augustus is like not all there. Like he's too scattered and about like they focus,
zany, too zany to be really cognitive.
right?
Zany is a good word.
And that's not true, but Pearce thinks that he's not all there, and very glad that he's there to take care of Q. So Jindy he doesn't trust at all in any way, shape, or form. He doesn't dislike her necessarily, but he doesn't. She does seem to be powerful, and looks at her as a utility.
It's the power that he distrusts, or what is the reason that he distrusts, or is that just his natural mode to distrust?
I think that sort of base was going to be base level for everybody is distrustful, and that she has not like overcome that distrust yet.
Sure.
But also has that like, in that way of that sort of dehumanizing way, like sees her as a utility, like, oh, she's a healer. So, hey, are you going to heal me or not? Right. That's your purpose to me. And, Pearce doesn't call anybody asterisk by their name. And so Dorf is the only one that he likes, because he knows that Dorf is saying exactly what he's thinking all the time.
That's
he doesn't.
Fair.
That is, there's he doesn't have to, because if Dorf's gonna kill Pearce, Dorf's gonna go, all right, I'm gonna have to kill you. And
somebody clip that.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody clip that, please.
That's amazing.
And so he will room with Dorf easily, knowing that he's not going to die in his sleep.
Okay.
If Eric has to miss a session, you've got Dorf.
Yeah. It's all you. Eric said he's crying.
Can't even come close.
Wow.
Oh,
okay, so
gosh.
is that everyone?
Yeah, those are
present?
Not
those
on
three.
the call.
Yeah.
Okay, so Goon, back to you. What about the two others on this call?
Okay.
How does Q feel about them? Do we want to what Loch before we go
I
ahead?
was just gonna say, do we want to do one and move through?
I think both. Well,
Both.
Q's
Let's do
answer
both
is
in
going to
one
be
time.
both.
Okay.
Because I think I love what Stevo said about Pearce thinking about everybody as a utility, because I do think that like that character that you had described much earlier on this call would do that, and I think that's a fantastic. In much the same way, Q thinks of. I think I've just realized on this call that Q thinks of the party as a pact structure, right? It's a pact that he's fallen into. And I'm going to have to do some research, but I do think that he places Kess and Pearce on the same level, which is like a half a step above him. I think Q is an Omega. If you've done any research on wolves, like stuff like that, like I think that the Omega is like the bottom, wolf, and Q just knows that that's where he fits in the party. And I think that Kess and Pearce to him, if you remember the hyenas from Lion King, it's like he feels like he's Ed to their Shinzi and whatever the other guy's name was. I think that like he sees this like 3 duo process, and then like the 3 parents are having to. Yeah, he's definitely the Ed.
Oh
in his
my
mind.
gosh, I love that so much.
That's fantastic.
I think that Pearce and Kess have this youthfulness about them that the other 3 characters maybe have a more like they've crossed the threshold that us 3 haven't. It from Q's perspective, and I think that like so he feels more comfortable hanging, but he's probably not. He's listening to everything that they say with a grain of salt. And then just to touch on the specifics, Pearce scares the shit out of him. And that's why I think it's sort of a like a don't take your eye off the guy with the gun thing. He knows he's got a bow, and Pearce has like a weird bow that explodes, and also looks like he might shoot him at any point. And then Kess is like the nicest person to him so far, outside of Augustus. Jindy did the big thing, but Kess has just been so kind and patient to Q, especially that talk in the bar that she really won him over, and it almost turned into what he thought his. Oh, you know what? Never mind. That's backstory stuff. I think that was a personality that he never had in his life, and I think somebody walking him through a traumatic moment was very good, and I think Kess kind of won a permanent spot in Q's heart. And she seems to want to hang out with Pearce, so now Q wants to hang out with Pearce. So
that is not the answer I had anticipated, but it's interesting that you say that Q is the Omega, because Q, by my math, and I feel like if I sat down and actually crunched the numbers, he has done far and away the most damage.
Yeah, like I don't think that he's this little glass cannon, and he's built very powerfully. Like I know what I'm doing with character creation, and I think that was like unintentional, that I made him this really good warlock,
right?
And it's a really bad character. Like
he's not a bad character though.
No. Purposefully like low on the totem pole character.
Oh, like purposely very submissive.
Yeah.
Is that the right word?
Yeah, very submissive character, very Omega, very other words that I'm sure are no longer PC. Like sure. He's just gonna take orders from whoever gives them at the time. And Augustus gave not orders but guidance, and he took that. Kess tells him what to do, and she doesn't seem to have ill intention. And then Pearce sometimes grumbles things.
What about you, Kess? How does Kess feel about Q and Pearce?
Okay, I have notes for this.
Jesus.
Okay, when it comes to Q, Kess sees him. Okay, Kess is I'll spill a little backstory, just a tiny bit. She has a very big family, and she's the baby. And so her siblings, she got, picked on a lot and kind of had to, like, wipe her tears and get up and just, they're brothers. So she was the only girl, and she was basically just that little kid that just, they have a really great relationship, but just got, like, picked on, and she just kind of had to stand up and keep going, and show them that she was tough. And so whenever she looks at Q, she looks at him as like a little brother that she never had, but she wants to show him compassion that her brothers didn't show her whenever she was growing up, just because they were kind of like, get tough, kid, stop being a baby. But she
Rubs some dirt in it.
what?
Rub some dirt in it.
Yeah. And so that's how she sees Q, and that's why she's been so, like, at first she was just kind of like, not necessarily annoyed, but afraid that he might try to eat everybody. Like,
That's valid, though.
I mean, just kind of like, yeah, afraid that he might try to eat everybody in the party. And then once she kind of figured him out a little bit, she saw a lot of herself whenever she was, like, little in him, and then wanted to, be nice, because it's not that her brothers were mean, it's just that they were boys, and they'd, she was the little baby. So, and then as far as Pearce goes, okay, well,
I'm interested.
oh god,
Yeah.
what?
Quite the build up.
Yeah. Kess has a crush on Pearce. Like, thinks he's the coolest dude she has ever met. Thinks, like, the gunslinger thing is cool. But also thinks that they're a lot alike, and he's kind of the only person that she's met that, like, he just seems like very mischievous, and so she's just kind of like, that's really cool, that's super cool. But, like, I don't know, I feel like I had a lot written down, but
Like that, and the more, again, there's some backstory stuff going on there, but the more you know about Kess's background, the more that makes sense.
yeah. And he just also, like, even like, crush aside, like, she also thinks that he could be a good friend, but she wants to call him on his crap because she doesn't really care about bullcrap, and so that's why she's always just like, get it together, Pearce, come on, like, why are you being this way, why are you, why can't you be a nice person, I guess. And I don't know, they've had a lot of really good moments of just friendship, and, like, she's just, he reminds her a lot of, I guess, just like her family, but he's comfortable to her, like which is weird because they do nothing but argue.
Right.
Like, they argue all the time, but for some reason she's just drawn to that.
There's like this level of, like, it's comfortable because it's not necessarily the personality, but the background. She's not intimidated. Like, she's neither intimidated nor does she feel less than because of.
Do you think
Is that right?
Do you think Kess
Yeah.
sees through that veneer that Pearce puts up?
Exactly.
Do you think that she just doesn't, like, that whole wall he has?
Yeah, she's just like, okay, put the wall down. Just like, why are you being a dick? Like, just come on.
At least from her perspective.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that would explain why she actually reached out to him on the boat and been like, "Hey, are you okay?"
Yeah, she just kind of like started kind of caring about his feelings. And also they've had a couple of moments where they've fought and then like apologized, and he's always been just like, I forgive you, like without question. And she's just kind of like, oh, okay. Cause she's never had to deal with consequences, but she's felt bad about certain things that she said to him, but he's just instantly forgiven her. So yeah. I guess
Very
Pearce has
interesting.
feelings. Spencer said Pearce has feelings.
So, looking at you, sassholes, the ship
Right.
has been built.
I mean,
At least Kess is building a ship, whether or not anybody wants
yeah,
to get on it.
it's
So,
one of those things that
It's a boat.
It's a
It's a
boat.
boat.
Yeah.
Canoe.
it's a boat.
It's a
Yeah,
raft. Like
It's a raft.
Yeah,
it's
like
an
he could
inflatable lifesaver. Like
he could literally say, you know, Pearce cannot stand to be around Kess. But
Sure.
Kess still, that doesn't mean that Kess knows that, or that Kess, like,
exactly.
you know,
Exactly.
so, you know. Oh, but also, like, Kess is very stubborn and probably would never admit anything like that. Not would never, but
Right.
doesn't want to admit anything like that because she's coming from a place of wanting to be independent and strong without her family, which also means without a man. So she's just kind of like, she's kind of mad about it, to be
She's like,
honest.
damn my feelings.
Which also is kind of why she does keep like messing with him too. It's just like she's just annoyed at the whole situation as well.
Loch do you feel like this is any of Loch having known guys like Pearce? Like, you know, Zach earlier had alluded that Pearce has that sort of young white boy, you know, chip on his shoulder syndrome. Seem familiar? Maybe there's a little bit of Loch creeping in.
You
College.
literally know, I was about to say, you literally know all the dudes that I dated in college, and like yeah.
Definitely
Yeah.
call themselves as Pearce a little bit sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I want to belittle Kess's crush, but maybe.
I mean, you know, Kess also, that's why I keep asking, like, if the NPCs are attractive. Like, she's probably gonna crush on just any attractive person as well. Like, that's why I'm like, are they attractive? Are they attractive?
Is there
Just-
anything
she's
you would
just
want to
young.
disclose? Is there anything you would want to disclose about Kess's past in terms of partners she's had? Like, is there anything that, or not really? Like,
I mean, she...
like give as much or as little as you want, but like as far as like where Kess is now, is there anything in the past that would make that a little bit clearer?
She really has only dated one person for a very long time. And he was her best friend whenever they were younger. He was friends with her brothers. And they just kind of ended up together without even really having any connection. I mean, I wouldn't say connection because they were friends, but really there was nothing really between them romantically. They just kind of ended up together because her family was like, you know, you guys should be together. And it ended, and now she's just kind of like, she's not really searching for love. I wouldn't say that, but
Open-minded.
yeah, she's just trying to remain
Her
open-minded.
horizon is open for the first time.
For the first time in her life,
right?
because it was never an option until now for like anything. So, yeah, I can say that.
Interesting. So what about Stevo? What about Pearce? How does Pearce feel about Q and about Kess?
So I accidentally mentioned Q earlier. When I was flipping through Rolodex, I just landed on the wrong name. Yeah, Q, like I said earlier, is someone who Pearce doesn't want to have any affiliation with, and part of it is because as Pearce looks at people in a utility way, what they're able to exhibit in terms of power, and he's been able to see power in pretty much everybody in different form and fashion, and Q does a shitload of damage, and so he kind of doesn't want to be close to him. He doesn't want to get near him. He would also like downplay Q's power because he's like the little kid, you know, he got lucky. There's some explanation for that. You know, he would not ever give Q his proper due. And like I said, very glad that Augustus is there to keep Q like an annoying little brother.
Right.
And like we'll deal with him. Like, okay. But if you come with us, I want you to wait outside. And we'll come up with ideas for Q to not get in his way. So like, would you mind sitting outside and eating a rat so that I don't have to think about you?
He's too much of a wild card, and you're like, no.
Right.
No time for that.
Right.
You know, when you give a wild card a rat.
Right. Yeah. And so like for Kess is the only character that Pearce will refer to by name, and it's because she made him and like stood up for herself, and but also repeatedly, like, would you call me by my name? Like, sure, and then would revert back to it, and she would harp on him again. And so now he knows that he can't get away with that. And so I think Pearce is completely oblivious to everything else for the most part. And I think like part of that is purposeful, because like when someone tried to pop his bubble, like his emotional bubble or whatever, that's going to get an equal and opposite reaction in a way. And so he will cause fights to like, hey, I pull you aside to start a fight with you because I don't want, like, Pearce is terrified by the idea of someone actually being nice to him. So
Right.
There's that. And then there was something else that I was thinking of that was related to that I completely lost my train of thought. But just like doing his best to sort of keep that wall there, because he knows that as soon as if that falls and he starts to actually be like, you know, vulnerable with people, that he's going to feel completely powerless. So he will do things like the I forgive yous are so that he doesn't have to do much apologizing. Yeah. If we got in a fight and she assumes responsibility for it, I forgive you. Moving on. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't that creates connection in some form or fashion. Mm-hmm. So like I can go, I forgive you, and we don't have to talk about it anymore. And so it's he has
it's a get out of jail free card for Pearce.
Yeah. And you know, Kess being the kind of person who would like try to make amends, he's great with that because he didn't have to. So like the idea of probably in this weird way, if I don't think Pearce knows this yet, but I think Kess is the only person that he would call a friend, like not to her face and not to anybody else in the party, but maybe like if he was drunk talking to a bartender. Like there's the party and maybe his friend Kess, maybe, like that's where his like wall has started to get chipped at.
So does that have anything to do, if I may pry just a little bit further into that, does that like emotional just slight crack and like willingness to subconsciously, like when alcohol has exposed the innermost parts of him, be willing to call Kess a friend, is that reflected in the cards that she got you and the way that you are treating those in New Hexen, leaving them at the bar?
It wasn't friend. It was Waterdeep.
Waterdeep.
It wasn't Waterdeep. Yeah. Things like that where like Pearce's initial reaction is going to be one of either deflection, but not one that causes conflict, or it's going to be one of like, I don't care. But
right.
If like, so in that moment specifically, he was like waiting to see that no one else was going to notice. And then he was like, well, it was a gift and take it. But when he was given a gift in front of everybody else, he just gave it to Q. Mm-hmm. So like that
Well,
ring was
he
like,
gave it to Dwarf.
or
yeah. Well,
oh, was it Dwarf? Yeah, it's Dwarf. It was like,
Right.
yeah, I don't want that. And he performatively wants you to think he doesn't want that, but like quietly he would accept like the playing cards or something like that.
Interesting.
I've been wondering about the cards.
Yeah, that like you handled those very, very interestingly. It was difficult not to notice. So I wondered if there was anything as far because like
you were
you
very
had
specific
mentioned
about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that was specific. And some of the specific things that like, you know, Pearce not wanting to show up in any registry, not wanting to be written about in a book, not wanting to owe not wanting to have taken money from the king specifically just seemed like way too exposed to have done that. But also not accepting money from the king also stood out like, oh, this guy declined the payment. That's super memorable. So that may, you know, have backfired in a way that he didn't really think about it in the moment. But yeah, and then the cards thing was very much like, that was a gift. That was nice. No one's ever got me a gift before. If no one's looking, I'll keep it.
I feel like that should go on a mug. If no one's looking, I'll keep it. Yeah.
That
Or
also
something.
could go for stealing, so no.
Right.
Right. Oh, and that also helped that like Kess pitched a thieving mission that like in that Mass Effect bar meter raises quite a bit. Where it's like, oh hell yeah, I want to steal something.
I wondered about that too, because he's just like, I want to steal stuff, and he seemed very like into the idea of like, okay,
yeah, he's very down that he was basically lookout because like, I really want to go in there and steal some stuff.
Yeah. It was just like a little bit more familiar and unfamiliar. That tweet was the best. Like that was Loch.
I want to steal stuff. that was Loch.
By the way, we have Secret Adventure Society gifts now available on the Twitter keyboard.
We do.
Twitter gift keyboard. Thank you, Eric.
I think the gifts with a T for a minute, and I was like, merch.
Please visit the gift shop on your way out.
Right. So those are all of the questions for this evening, for this episode of Spilling the Ale. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for a wonderful, wonderful evening of fun and friendship and laughter and happiness.
No, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah,
That's
I've been
great.
really scared all day that Stevo was gonna say Pearce hates Kess's guts. She's
Play your
annoying,
cards
he
right, and you
hates
might.
her. True.
It's still on
I
the
mean,
table.
even if Pearce did, Stevo doesn't. So therein lies the difference.
Right.
Yeah. Stevo's still your friend.
I'm
Right.
talking for Kess, like for Kess.
Right.
Like
Kess was
Loch speaks for Kess in all matters.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
Spencer is mad. Spencer, why are you mad?
Why are you mad?
He said, heck you all. Miss Curry says, interesting. That was fun. Learned some interesting stuff about the characters. I'm disappointed by my answered questions. He is mad. What question are you mad about,
He really
Sped?
wanted
He really
Pearce
wanted-
to be hurt by somebody.
Right.
Right.
He
and
didn't want
that's
Pearce to just be a jerk.
That's the thing about shitty people in this world is that it's easy to justify like, oh, they went through something tragic and that's why they act out. And unfortunately, sometimes people are just entitled fucking assholes. And so, like, I am with you. I'm mad too, Spencer. I'm mad. I don't like Pearce. Stevo, I do not like Pearce and would not be friends with Pearce and would not probably spend the actual time and effort to try to get through to Pearce because he is a toxic person or has the capability of being a toxic person, I think is a better way to put that. So I'm with you.
So right now for you, it's a matter of what can Pearce learn before he hurts someone.
Right. And you know, I think I misspoke when I said he's a shitty person, that he's just a shitty person. That's not exactly it. He's capable of being a shitty person, and he's capable of being a good person depending on his surroundings.
He's a chameleon.
As are we all, probably, to some extent.
Right.
I think the toxicity really shows through with him. Like, I the more that you describe it, I wouldn't have said all those things about Pearce, but the way you've said them have made so many puzzle pieces. I kind
It
of
really does.
I know that we're done with the questions and you almost outroed, but I had a quick question for Pearce and then open it up.
No, yeah, go ahead.
It's like, what is your process for getting into the head? Like, not setup or anything, but like, who makes the decisions? Is it Stevo or is it Pearce? Like, do you think about all this stuff? Because the leaving the cards, the like, what?
No, go ahead. I'm just raising my hand so I don't forget that I have a thing.
I got you. It's just so I know how I do it, but I don't know if I could say how I do it.
There are general things that I think about Pearce like during the week, and there are some things that I think about after the fact, like in the moment where I get through the king back his money. That was sort of a spur of the moment thing that I wondered why he did that and thought about it like later. So a couple things happened spur of the moment. The cards thing was spur of the moment. I have a general idea of like, I really don't want to accept things from people. I really don't want to be beholden to anybody, and I don't want to owe anybody anything. And so that sort of plays through on a lot of things that Pearce does. But like, from like what Stevo creates versus what Pearce does in the moment is like, I think about a specific moment where I was post-graduation. I graduated from college, and I was working a combination at GameStop and as a gallery attendant at the Modern Art Museum, and I had a college degree. And I remember thinking to myself at the time, and I became very depressed because I thought to myself, I went through the motions. I did the thing that society and parents and everybody told me you're supposed to do. So nobody gave me a job after I graduated college, but that's not how life works. And so I had this sense of entitlement and depression of like, I did the work I was supposed to do. Now everybody owes me shit. And so I know what that feels like. And so getting over myself and going like, oh no, you have to keep working. You have to keep putting yourself out there, and growing from that is something I've done. And not to say that I'm like perfected it, but it is a part of my past.
So
that's a very you do Meisner, yeah. Do you know what Meisner means?
No.
Meisner is it's an acting method, and like at Loch, did you ever have to take Meisner classes, or were you just like there to hear us bitch about it?
Yeah, well, no, I didn't take classes, but I just remember being told how to do it and what to do with it.
Yeah, it's this acting technique that basically it's basically cognitive behavioral therapy. Like I talked to a therapist about this, and I told her what we did in acting class, and she was like, "Oh, that's CBT." But basically, you take something in your life that's just adjacent to what you're wanting a character to be, to get you in the same headspace, so that way you can perform those emotions.
Yeah, so this is exactly what you said. That's like you come from a different background, and you've wound up at Meisner method acting. And I had this feeling that you had a similar process, because that's how I do characters as well.
And I've told Zach that you two, like, it feels like you guys have the same method, because sometimes I don't think that you guys realize what you do. Like, I think that you do it and you forget what. Yeah, because so you do it and then you kind of like forget that you even did it, and it worked, like something that like worked so well. But like Zach and I have talked about that.
That's the ADHD though. The forgetting, that's the ADHD. That's
also Meisner, because I cannot remember any play that I've ever been in ever. I black out and do the shit and I go home. Like, that's just how that works. So that's very very interesting that that's the way that you described that. But also like the fact, the entitlement that you say that you felt after you graduated college, and I feel like all of us on this call at least have probably felt that at some point in time. Like, I've done this shit. Where is where? You know?
Yeah.
So it's very, I don't think that in and of itself is a toxic thing. It's just a learning experience that you have to go through. But it seems like you're saying that Pearce is, what if that didn't go unchecked?
Right. I think, that's the kind of thing that
went unchecked.
Everybody goes not everybody. A lot of people go through a lot of similar experiences in life, but the toxic traits come from the people that didn't process them or grow from them or learn from them. And so Pearce is the kind of person that didn't have anybody to learn from, and so he's just wallowing in his own shit.
Yeah.
which isn't necessarily tragic. So he's just, creating his own problems.
But he's still young enough where he can get past.
Yes.
Right.
Get past all
Did that help Spencer? Is the most important part. Is
Did
that
that help?
Yeah. Did I make
Spencer?
you feel any better?
Spencer, do you feel better?
I hope so.
was
This
Spencer
is now.
hurt
He
by
said.
it?
This is now
Spencer
acceptable.
says this is now acceptable. Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay.
That's all I wanted. I was wondering if there was a Pearce in Spencer's life that he wanted to like.
Oh, we lost Goon
We lost Goon.
mid-sentence.
It was
Hope he comes
going to be a
back.
glorious sentence.
It was going to be such a good sentence. Oh, he's back. We danced.
I went in.
No, I
went in
dance with
okay.
myself when that, because I'm in the frame beside it and it mirrors me, so I'm just dancing with myself. Anyways,
I don't know how much you guys caught. I was just happy that Spencer got his catharsis.
Good. Good.
oh gosh,
Spencer says, "Tell me about the peace in my life, Goon." I feel like he meant Pearce in my life.
The Pearce in my life.
Pearce.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If there was a Pearce in Spencer's life and he was trying to like live through this to try to figure out what was wrong with that Pearce.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Huh,
had a
very
Pearce.
interesting. Guys, we have some good ass characters. I say we,
Yeah.
y'all
Yeah.
have some. There was like silence. I was like, is anybody gonna say anything? Like,
No.
No,
I'm
I thought you were still going. I was waiting for more praise.
oh,
Yeah.
endless praise.
Hold on.
That's me.
I agree. Every single person is interesting, and like there are some dynamics I'm looking forward to. Like, Pearce and Augustus finally had like a moment. Pearce and Jendi haven't had a lot of like time to interact and play out, and so having those, like looking forward to those is really awesome.
Yeah.
I agree.
Spencer said her name is Blue. You know this.
Yeah, Blue. That's true. Yeah, yeah. So the Blue, Turtle, Kid or Little Kid, Beardy, and it was Crab Lady.
Yeah.
And I actually misspoke because it wasn't a crab you turned into. I don't think. I think it was a
crab
spider.
No, I was
Did you-
I was a toad, and I summoned a crab.
You summoned a crab,
That's right.
is what it was. Okay. Yeah, so it was Crab Lady until it was Kess.
Can you guys see
And
this
even
dog? Can you see
playing it.
this?
What a goober!
Hang on, I gotta show chat.
What is it? He calls cute kid, right?
That's her leg.
Yeah, Kid. Or Little Kid if he's being like especially shitty.
Shitty.
That's adorable.
Oh, she's so cute. Oh.
What a goober. But anyway, this concludes tonight's episode of the Secret Adventures Society presents Spilling the Ale. Thank you so much, all of you in chat, for joining us. Thank you for your very, very, very insightful questions. We covered a lot of ground tonight, I think.
We're gonna have to start parsing questions if they keep
Gosh.
coming and like saving them from next episode.
This was like a 3.5 hour, 3.5 hour episode.
Yeah. So, dang.
Which keep them coming because that's great. We love
That's
that.
Yeah, no, that's
fantastic.
great. For
That
sure.
was very insightful stuff. Yeehawk indeed, Nutria.
We do know that
Yeehawk
next
indeed.
episode we will definitely have Dwarf, and then we will have somebody. We'll have
Next episode of SAS, yeah. Dwarf is, yeah. We'll
plus
have
one.
Dwarf, and then it really depends on.
Depends
We'll look at the episode and see,
who has some
Because we're
stuff
going
on.
dark, it's a weird. We don't know the schedule still yet.
Yeah.
we don't know the schedule and we don't know
Well,
what
the next spilling the ale will be. Let me
December.
December 9th.
December 9th, yeah. And the next episode of the Secret Adventures Society will be December 12th. So.
Nope, that's not.
I mean,
nope.
second.
December 2th. Yes.
Second.
Yeah.
I looked at my calendar and it said December 1st, December 2nd, and I put them together and it was 12th.
Yeah, you made it a thing. Yeah, no,
and
it's
then remind
December
everybody
2th.
the charity event is the
Charity event.
The 12th.
will
When's the
be
charity event?
The 12th.
Eric is DMing. He's
the
in chat.
12th.
The 12th.
Yeah,
Is that where you got that from?
that's
Probably.
I thought that's where she got it from.
maybe.
But yes, Eric, I will actually be playing. I will not be DMing this, and I am over the moon excited. We're going to be playing a charity one-shot. And Eric, if you would like to put in, I don't remember off the top of my head what charity it is. but it is actually Jen's cousin who used his Make-A-Wish money to create a charity to give
Which is
distraction tools and like video game systems and things to people, to children in hospitals with potentially life-threatening illnesses. So we are Lift Brigade. That's what it's called.
Brigade.
So we're going to be doing a charity for that. Hopefully raise some good money to go toward those guys, because that's a most important thing and spirit of the season. And really the foundation of why we are together as a group in the first place is charity events. So that's always humbling to think about.
Yep.
But again, we will be dark next week. This episode of Spilling the Ale will be live on Friday, so day after tomorrow. Friday morning, it'll be live, so you can watch it then. In the meantime, if you missed some of it, you can watch the VOD on Loch's channel. What else?
Next Wednesday, if I'm not streaming WoW, we might do a big SAS rerun day.
Okay,
On my
so
channel.
just a SAS marathon.
Yeah, just rerun episode after episode.
So like a Mystery Science Theater style Thanksgiving marathon.
Yeah.
Sass in the ass.
Sass out the ass, really.
Sass out the ass.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And if we keep doing 4-hour content every single Wednesday, we're gonna have Sass out the ass pretty soon.
We already do.
I was gonna say, I mean, there's
already
already a day and a half of, if you run a marathon, that's a day and a half.
Yeah, we have. It's wild to think of how much content we've already made
Yeah.
in our 12
Yeah,
sessions.
we've almost made the same amount of hours as the first Avatar movie.
We're
Coming close.
We already have made more than the first season of Firefly plus Serenity.
Oh,
Yeah.
so y'all are both coming at me with some painful statements right now, and I need to step off. There was no Avatar movie, and Firefly is still running.
Well, my joke was that the Avatar film was 179 hours long.
Yes,
He's not talking about the Shyamalan Last Airbender. He's talking
No.
about the blue people. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
Cameron's.
I forgot about the blue people. I didn't like the blue people.
Yeah.
We have a. Would you like to read that name from chat, Zach?
So. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, God in heaven. Sweet merciful Saloon. Saz with the as.
Yes. Says with the ass.
So, how old is this account? Where did this has to be Eric.
Is it Eric?
Account created July 17th, 2020. This was before that joke.
And they're in the chat.
Who changed?
So that's not Eric.
Who changed their name?
Oh, okay, you can change the name.
Who changed their name?
Fess up.
Come on. Who is it?
We're venturing away from like, but
Yeah.
this is fascinating. We're
Yeah,
venturing away
this
from
is
good
good.
content. So,
Anyway.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Don't forget some of the fun stuff we got coming up, including the charity stream and all the stuff coming out. Thank you guys so much. Don't forget to tell your friends about what we're doing here. If you tweet using the hashtag Secret Adventure, I might use your name as a character, as an NPC in our little story. And really tweeting about it and telling your friends is the way that this little experiment remains sustainable as we move forward. So thank you all. All of y'all who are doing that already, you guys are the real MVP. Like this, it is the best. Thank you, G-Lock. We love you, my friend.
Aww.
And so subscribe to us on YouTube and podcast feeds, and don't forget to find us we're on Instagram now. So Loch does our Instagram, so we're on Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and MySpace and CompuServe and I'm trying to think of
I'm about to shut this thing down, Zach.
Yeah, let's go home. We love you guys. Thank you for joining us. Meeting adjourned. Good night.